Hey everyone, this is another Anark live stream, but this one's a little bit different from usual. Today I've got Zachary Marlow and Arjang Jamais. I'm just going to assume I said that wrong, but today we are having a special live stream so we can all kind of, I don't know, ramble productively about the state of our decaying republic. Y'all want to introduce yourselves?
We'll do it live. Okay. No, we'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
That's where we're at, yes.
Fucking thing sucks.
Well, you all know that we just spent so much time trying to get this all set up. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a great prelude. It's just fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. I mean, that's what we've been watching for months and months and months. And all of us have been like, duh. It's what the donut is rolling down the hill. It's going to keep going lower. And everybody's like, oh, the donut. It's like the meme. They're like, the donut, it's gone further down the hill. It's like, that's what objects in motion do. They accelerate. They go downhill. And so here we are, you know, after a historic night. I like jumped in the ocean last night in the fucking Pacific at midnight after fascism was like just fucking won, just sunk it, just completely diminished, destroyed, humiliated its last puny opposition that, you know, capitalism could blusteringly and facetiously and just obviously, like such fucking liars, like, oh, we're so aghast at the injustices and the economic abuses and we've got to take on the corporate, like just the last measly pathetic attempt at neoliberalism to like renounce itself, to wring its hands and pretend that it is any fundamentally different.
Well, to be honest, I predicted a Trump victory in 2016. Okay. My friends were like, there's no way Americans are that stupid. I was like, oh, believe me, they are. And then I was like, oh, see, I was right. But this time around, I actually thought that they would not vote for this guy. Because I'm like, after the damage he's done and the things we see he's done, they would not vote for him. I was wrong this time. I was wrong. I went
on your show and it's on record. I said,
yeah, you said it. I didn't believe you, man. And my friends told me, and I was like, oh, I should remember. I remember back in 2016, Americans are that dumb. You know, they are that uneducated. And by dumb, I'm not trying to demean people. I'm just saying we live in a culture that's the cultural consciousness has been collectively captured, man. You know, it's been usurped and hijacked by elite right-wing thinking, and the will of the system has been expressed. But I'm gonna save that for later.
Yeah, I'm loving that we're already off to a start here. Everybody just floored straight pedal to the metal. But y'all should give me some intros to your channel.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
Somebody even goes, "Who is the guest people? Do they have YouTube channels?" Like,
yeah, you just found some random guy off the street, and
I'm literally at this point, I'm just a homeless person.
But right.
Yeah, you can find the rants and more solutions at Moneyless Society and at Zachary C. Marlow on all the things, on all the fascist, surveillance bot apps.
And my name is Arjang Jamais, and I've been a systems thinker and out system activist for about 15 years. I work with an organization called the Zeitgeist Movement, which advocates for a new system that, you know, is about managing resources intelligently using the scientific method. And my channel is called World Beyond Capitalism. So check that out, guys.
What a professional intro. Hang on, I got to give another one. I'm really like what I am is this collection of pixels on your screen. I'm here to bust the story.
It's a competition.
To tell a better story. Nah, it's not a competition. That's the story. The story is that we're all in competition with each other, fighting over scarce resources, and that there's not enough to go around, and we've got to act like absolute assholes to each other. And there's got to be a boss, and you know, we have to fucking boss each other around, and it's just got to suck. Like, and that's the old story. And I'm like, my whole orientation, my whole life, my whole mission is to bust that fucking story and replace it with something better.
Good. Yeah, the two people I've got here are both really awesome. So it's like, it's super rare to find people who actually care about the dual power approach, like for what it actually is, which is building alternative systems without, for example, falling into utopian thinking. And both of the people we have here are people who are actually committed to remaining grounded in their analysis. It's not to say that we don't have great dreams, right? We have these great dreams, but we stay grounded in the things that are actually possible, the things that have demonstrated themselves as actual potentials, using existing sciences, system science, complex systems analysis, and so on to understand what those actual potentials look like. So I'm actually really glad to have these two people here. And yeah, no, I mean, I don't assume I need to explain to anybody who's watching the stream why we're doing the stream tonight, right? Like my DMs are exploding, like everybody everywhere is commenting on the results of the election. We all know that fascism essentially just got voted into the American government.
Yeah, but I would say, you know, and I'm sure you guys agree with me, the system is fundamentally at its core fascist, but now we're dealing with overt fascism. Whereas in the past, the politicians were actors in front of a screen, you know, in front of a stage. Hey guys, I want to do this for you. I want to do that for you. Yeah, back in the day, they're actors, and they're funded obviously by the constituents, which are the big mega donors, the banks, the corporations, and the military machine. But now we have Donald Trump, who is the CEO of the American empire, right there in front of your eyes saying, we're going to do it. We're going to take care of everything. We're going to, you know, kick out all the immigrants, and we're going to, the climate hoax is a hoax, you know, and all that nonsense. Oh, Elon Musk is so great. He's so smart. Got the best rockets, you know. So it's like, but the thing is, the danger is that this guy is a performer, and that is really playing to the yeah, he's performing to the emotions of the American people. And that is why he's captivated them, which shows, sadly and pathetically, the United States political system has always been about a character expression. It's always been what's
vibes.
It called?
It's all vibes.
Yeah, it's a personality show, and that is why back in the day, the first time we had a televised live stream, right before we had television in America, when we had radio, the most intelligent sounding politician won the debate. But when we had JFK, the first televised debate between him and whoever was his opposition,
Nixon.
Yeah, Nixon. He was better looking, better well-dressed, handsome guy, speaking more, you know, cool and all that. That is why he won, even though Nixon was more intelligent sounding. So that shows right there, we're at this final stage where the performance artist who is a fascist, who does not care about you, even though he says outright fascist things like, I'll be dictator on day one and all the nonsense, people still vote for him.
That's because we've reached the height of the spectacle. Like everything is so clearly on fire. Everybody knows everything is such a circus that they're like, well, if it's such a circus, why wouldn't we make the clown dictator? Right. Like it's just he comes to them. He gives them some reassurance that he actually has a path forward, that he has a conception in mind about how he's going to lead the nation forward. And they don't really care if he's going to be some despotic, dictatorial, tyrannical leader. If anything, they're just looking for some guidance in a world that is so confusing and everything is like, feels like it's constantly degrading and falling apart in front of them. And I think so many people look to Trump as this sort of clown prince who represents the spectacle of modern America.
Well, he doesn't have a plan either. He doesn't really stand for anything, or he doesn't articulate clearly a vision of the world, a worldview, certainly not one that's actually in competition with the existing establishment. People think he's an anti-establishment politician because he just didn't come from the government, but he went to the same Ivy League schools. He fucking, goes to the same pedophile islands. They're all connected. They're all part of the same club. But, he's like, I have concepts of a plan. Like he really has nothing that he stands for on the surface. And you have to really dig underneath all the bluff and the bluster, just like with Elon Musk, just like with all the billionaire grifter hype men of our time who are just big storytellers. They're big time bullshitters. They are like a parade of used car dealers that are basically trying to get us to they're lowballing us on planet Earth. And we're buying. We've accepted that because, it's not about what they stand for, because basically the idealistic mess that we've been in for so long of neoliberalism, where there's no structural policy. It's all vibes based. And all of the liberal versus conservative divide is just the vibes. We don't question capitalism as a system, as a way of making decisions, as a distribution of power. Hello? At all. That is not on the table. That is not open for discussion. The Democrats and the Republicans are identical in that. And so people have gotten used to bullshit basically predominating, and politicians are just full of shit, and everyone is full of shit basically. And so basically the people are used to things not really changing. And so we're just stuck in this soup of ideas because politics is not about changing the economic conditions, the material conditions, the structural conditions, your fucking healthcare, your dental, the infrastructure of your society. All of that is worked out basically by big business and bureaucrats. And we're just sort of flailing around. And so when somebody like Trump comes and he has nothing substantial to offer, not a vision of the world, not even ethics or values beyond just Trump, the fact that he's very confident in expressing that is like late stage peak hierarchy, where we're just so used to being bossed around, and by like looking for a bulldog, just like an alpha aggro prick to lead the pack, because we just have this upside down understanding of human behavior and human beings. And we've just been so whipped for so long that basically Trump is just the alpha bully. And as Carl Jung said, and Arjang and I talked about this in our last stream, basically Hitler was not a man. He was an empty space for the unconscious of the people to sort of fill this balloon, this shape, this like Trump is the liberal neglect of the last 3 or so presidencies of our lifetime, pooling into this dark shadow of unmet human needs and deep frustration and rage at a system that we've been so gaslit in, we don't even see it. We don't even know where we are. We don't know who we are. We don't know why we exist, but we're fucking pissed. So Trump comes out.
We got a $20 super chat here from Sam. Sam's an old friend of mine. Sam says, Americans aren't stupid because of Trump. More people stayed home or split ticket voted than they have in decades because of wars and so on. Nothing is surprising about the continued march of fascism. It's been happening for decades. So I wonder what y'all think about that.
Yeah, great point. And actually, it was something I was going to touch upon because, yeah, I mean, when we look at what's happened in America in the last 50 or 40 or so years, like a lot of it started with obviously the neoliberal era of clamping down on everything during the Reagan era, where they started the whole privatization process, but also Bill Clinton, NAFTA, sending all the jobs overseas. It was a bipartisan attempt, an agenda to basically cultivate the will of the market, you know? So all the wars, all the shipping the jobs overseas, the massive amount of inequality, the growth of the surveillance state, the stripping of our democratic rights. You know, I can go on and on and on, but the thing is that the both parties, for their profit, which you talked about, Zach, for the sake of their self-interest, making a killing, you know, making mad money,
a literal killing.
They're doing. Yeah, literally a literal killing and a
mass murder.
Killing. Yeah. So what they've done is they've done what they wanted to all along, to empower capital, to bring more wealth to the corporations, and they disempowered and disenfranchised the working class, the average American citizen, to the point where people have become so desperate, they're like willing to vote for anybody who they view as anti-established, even though nobody is more
swinging dick.
Yeah, even though nobody is more establishment than Trump. But hey, this guy who's a loudmouth, talking crap, cursing in front of television, that's the guy we're going to go for, because we're so sick and tired of these performance artists with their neat clothes and their polite language while they stab us in the back after they're done talking. That is why he made an excellent point. It's been going on for a long time. So we can't blame the Democrats, even though they are a lot to blame for what happened in this election. But it's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. It's the system's fault. It is neoliberalism at play. It is the end stage of neoliberalism cancer. And we're witnessing it and living it right now.
I mean, what's really going on is we have a hierarchical power structure. It's highly developed, right? It's had all this time to undergo completely unrestrained imperialism, completely unrestrained extraction, both of everything outside of itself and everything inside of itself. And it's hard to say whether it's reaching its limits. It's easy to say something like that, but it is getting to the point now where it is beginning to degrade, right? You can even see it in things like our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is just falling apart. It's not even doing the basic maintenance tasks it needs to continue being this sort of leading structure. It's so completely obsessed with the process of extraction at this point, with the process of domination, that it's becoming kind of an empty suit. And when these hierarchical structures reach this point in their development, they start to get desperate. They start to utilize methods of domination, widespread deception. They undermine and hollow out any sort of institution that acts as a mechanism for accountability, such that there really is no accountability anymore. It gets to run wild, and it runs wild externally and internally, right? Like, we can see the external effect, as you were both alluding to, with it making a killing, quote unquote, but we see what it's doing to empower imperialism in the Middle East. But we also see what it's doing internally. Like, all of us recognize how bad inflation has got, how bad the state of the American economy is for most people. People are miserable. They feel completely hopeless, completely aimless.
Powerless.
They feel powerless, and they are. That's the fact of how hierarchy works. Hierarchical power structures are predicated upon the deprivation of the masses from the ability to control their own lives. And then, of course, as the power structure becomes less and less accountable, as there are less and less checks on its ability to freely exploit its own populace, the populace just desires some form of empowerment. It desires some form of feeling as if it is represented. And when the strong man comes forward and the strong man says, I'm going to be that, I'm going to get rid of all this decadence and degradation that came about through the expansion of the system, instead of recognizing that this is the natural, nigh inevitable outcome of a hierarchical power structure that is unrestrained, instead
a game of fuck or be fucked.
Hey,
yeah,
maybe
it's always
this
going to end up
guy
like
can
this.
be my empowerment. Maybe the clown prince is my way out of this situation, right? Maybe this guy who just like he has everything I've been brainwashed to believe that this system is supposed
Big
to
Daddy.
be. He is the peak embodiment of hierarchical power and its extreme forms of exploitation and domination. You come to believe that guy is going to be the one that empowers them, rather than him being almost like an avatar of the decadence and degradation of hierarchical power.
Yeah, I want to make a point there that you make a beautiful point about like people in a hierarchical power system, a giant pyramid scheme that's like fuck or be fucked to the end. It's like you're accumulating other people. Like if you're at the top of the pyramid, you stand atop that many kneeling slaves. Like there's a website called Slavery Calculator, and you just type in like your income and like what kind of shit you buy, and it tells you how many slaves it takes to like produce your lifestyle, like how many people that are actual enslaved humans are in the world basically working for you. And I'm basically homeless, and it was like 12 people. And so like someone like Trump, who's ascended to the top of the pyramid, has accumulated the embodied will and power of millions of people, and now at this point billions of people. And it's like, it's also the other side of this is that money works in the same way, and our debt-based monetary system is like you are accumulating other fucking people's debts or money that's just been created straight out of banks and governments. And so why would it be a surprise that our physical infrastructure, the structure of our society, and our own moral foundation and our bodies are breaking down? Because it's all about hype and speculation. And our basic priorities are all filtered through a fucking nonsense, a dream of this speculative, like people talk about inflation. One, like it's a law of nature, like it's just a thing that happens. Two, like it's not corporations raising the fucking prices. It's not just some monetary phenomenon because there's too much money in the system. It's because the people who sell you stuff, like have you trapped, that you fucking depend on them to meet your most basic needs through them, like the food companies, water companies, electric companies, like, you depend on them and they control you through that system, through money. And Arjang, come in here. I'm getting lost in the sauce. What is money? Explain this, please, because most people have no fucking idea what money is and how it works and how it factors all into all this.
Well, the traditional explanation is that money is a medium of exchange that allows mutual satisfaction of two sides meeting their needs, and then everybody walks away happy, which is like so bizarre. What does that even mean? That cannot be true, that money is a medium of exchange, especially when you research into the work of David Graeber and Debt, that really good book, Debt, the First 5,000 Years, which really taught me a lot about how money and debt are inseparable. It is a process, or it's an element called a reciprocal obligation, in which you are forced into a totalitarian setting. They call it the free market, which is actually the freedom of the wealthy and the powerful to exploit the vulnerable and the weak. But in reality, it is It is an obligatory setting in which there is a forced level of competition on people where they have to compete with one another. And you're actually engaged in a process of, war. And as Marx called it, class war, which is like, okay, very simple example. You walk into a store, you want to buy something. Well, you're already strategizing in that element where like you're trying to buy things for the lowest possible price and buy the most amount of things for that price, while the guy who's trying to sell it to you is trying to sell it to you with sell you the least amount of things for the highest amount of price. That setting is violent, and it may seem very arbitrary and silly and simple to the average person, but when you extrapolate that to a global economy where there's this imposition of artificial scarcity on billions of people, artificial scarcity, because as we can see, the hunter-gatherers who didn't use money, even though they're primitive in their technology, they don't have vaccines and medicine, sure, but they don't have poverty. Whereas in our society we have poverty, this condition that is a complete social creation. It's artificial. So when you look at all these things, artificial scarcity, enforced competition, debt, money existing as debt, then the world around you, which is full of rampant with inequality, poverty, fascism, wars, climate breakdown, then it'll start making sense to you. Then you start debunking this stupid idea that money is a medium of exchange. That is impossible. It cannot be a medium of exchange. It is a mechanism. It is a mechanism of exploitation. That is what it is. And the free market is perfect. It's a perfect mechanism to allow us to not look at nature and the habitats of our planet as a system of life support to be protected. No, it's not. It's instead an inventory for exploitation. That's what everything is. Everything. So I'll give it back to you, Zach.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Silvio Gesell, this credit theorist, this economist from I believe Austria, beautiful Austria, beautiful Alps. Basically said that the fundamental contradiction between our currency system is that the medium of exchange, which money surreptitiously and secondarily is, it was not designed to do that. It was not designed like cowrie shells or something, or a social currency, to actually facilitate flow and sort of take account of like promises and commitments and relationships. But basically, it's not a medium of exchange because we use it as a medium of exchange and a store of value at the same time, which literally cancel each other out. If it's a medium of exchange, it needs to flow. There needs to be circulation. It's got to move through the system. If it's a unit of account, it's supposed to sit still. You're supposed to just keep it in one place. And this is like the dumbest thing about Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin will never be money in the sense that people are actually circulating it through society. Actually, wait, it will be money in that it will control people, because that's what money does. Not all currency is money, but money is the form of currency that has absorbed all the others. And so currency can be anything, really. It can just be recognizing currents that we see. So we see, okay, there's a current of energy going this way. We could be measuring the resources of society and basically creating flows and remarking on them and creating currencies out of that. That's we're getting a little lost in the sauce again.
Yeah. I could intervene and be like, well, we also need to consider Bickler and Nitzin's capital as power. But here's we got a message here from Sam again, another $10 donation. He says, have any of the three of you listened to the most recent Behind the Bastards episode on Peter Thiel? Also, have any of you watched the debate that Peter Thiel and David Graeber had back in like 2010?
Great debate.
So your answer is yes, you have seen that debate between them.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, though. I didn't see it.
Peter Thiel's a fucking snake. The thing that David Graeber was, I think, just coming out of writing Utopia of Rules after that, and they talked a lot about like science fiction. And that book is a big part of it is about why we're not living in a world of flying cars. Like it's the essay is called On Flying Cars and the Declining Rate of Profit. And it's basically about how research in the capitalist system and in money world, like researchers and scientists and people trying to solve the world's problems spend more of their time having to compete over getting funding than they do actually doing the science. And the whole system is about creating the most fucking competitive atmosphere possible, rather than what the social science actually says about innovation and creativity, that you create the most cooperative environment and you just fucking meet the needs of the people and give them what they need, and voila, innovation. But yeah, basically, that's a really crucial relationship to understand in this whole Trump thing, is that really Donald Trump is a fucking Halloween mask. He is a fleshy plastic mask over a much, much darker and more sinister techno-fascist, transhumanist, fucking accelerationist death cult that is like basically devoting their energies away from being like libertarians and claiming that they're anarcho-capitalists, even though they still do, while they're trying to use Trump to seize state power and do the fucking least anarchist thing you could ever do, be Donald Trump, like commit fascism. I don't know. But yeah, basically that's the real power structure behind Trump. Is Peter Thiel, is Elon Musk now, is all of these Silicon Valley billionaires that were once all gay and cosmopolitan and against the Republicans because the vibes were so off. Now they're like, oh, this is our guy, of course. And so they basically used Trump geniusly. He's the jingling keys. He's the jingling keys over basically a population that still lives in the Middle Ages mentally, that has no idea the technical reality of what we're living through. And that's basically, they're using Donald Trump to get in there and it basically inflict the most disgusting ideology you could ever imagine, that literally sees like the human body as a mistake, and like nature itself is something we're warring against, and we've got to conquer nature and fucking go to the stars. And like literally they want to leave fucking Earth in robot bodies that live forever. Like they're disgusting. They're fucking weird as shit. Like that's the fucking, there's just not another word for it. They're weird people. And now they have incredible power.
The thing that strikes me, the thing that strikes me is that even though we've had such sophisticated technological development, even though our politics in many ways look very different from the politics of the last rise of fascism, somehow in so many ways, the rise is so astonishingly similar, right? You have this massively different technological and social substrate where like me and you are talking to each other on computers, right? Like, look at this, like, look at what's happening right now. This
so complicated
right now would be magic.
You guys have no idea.
In the Weimar Republic right before World War II, right? Like this is magical, right? We're like wizards looking at portals or something. Yeah. Yet the actual like procession of conditions that lead to fascism are still so incredibly similar that it almost seems trite. You know, you look around at all these people getting bamboozled by precisely the exact same kind of divide and conquer talking points, where you get all of the people who previously had some position of social preeminence, you know, white people, men, straight people, etc. And then you weaponize their separation between them and the oppressed classes or oppressed races or oppressed genders, and you use it as like a little wedge, and you just wedge them apart such that they all fight with each other, and it recatalyzes hierarchical power. I think that's the thing that really astonishes me, is how incredibly similar the arc is. The only thing that disturbs me is how the one part that seems so incredibly different is the weakness of the revolutionary left by comparison to the rise of fascism. You know, if you compare where the United States was, or where even the Weimar Republic was, or where much of Europe was at the last rise of fascism, the left is so much weaker. It is so much less leverage to actually change anything. That's actually what terrifies me. But I should mention before I transition here, because I'm sure y'all got something to say, also got another $5 super chat, this time from Eric Gray. Eric says, reading recommendation, The Anarchism of Blackness by William C. Anderson and Zoe Samudzi, which can be found online in the Anarchist Library. I've heard numerous people recommend this one. So
nice.
I want to read one of these chats, but Arjang, go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, when it comes to the weakness of the left, I would quote Alex Jones, "Stop being weak."
That's it, right? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
We got a bunch of criminals coming down on us. God, ugh. No, but I would say, look, I would say,
he's right. He's fucking right.
I mean,
the left is a joke. What is the left? Good God.
The sad thing is, when I talk to people like in daily life and my family, friends, and whatnot, people who are not really in the know as to the things we're talking about, history repeats itself, right? That's what they say. History repeats itself. I don't agree with that. I think it's not history repeating itself. It's more like the system, which is is fascistic at its core. It finds ways to adapt. The system is finding ways to adapt to the changes we're seeing. And so it's extremely toxic and dangerous if people don't realize this. And then they just write it off as like, oh, history repeating itself. No, it's not. History is not repeating itself. The system fundamentally at its core, it's a system that's about hegemony and the consolidation of power. So even though we have, we can talk to each other from across the globe. We have, soon to have maybe flying cars. Who knows? We have solar panels with 90% efficiency. We have nanotechnology. We have 3D printers. We have automation. All this beautiful technology. As Peter Joseph told me at length when I used to talk to him, the founder of the Zeitgeist movement, under a capitalist system, under a system that's based on trade strategizing dominance, technology introduced is always going to be more destructive than productive because, again, the goal of the system is wealth consolidation, growth, and then growth, which brings about more inequality and more the stripping of your rights. So that is why fundamentally it should not be just about technology, and it should not just be about the education of our social values. It has to be a combination of the two, because technology allows us to actually gain that leverage over the natural limits, right? So like, whereas back in the day, you had to walk down the hill, pour up your cup, your vase of water and bring it all the way up the hill. Well, now you have plumbing. You turn on a valve that brings the water up. But when you have a system that's fundamentally about stratification, dominance, and hierarchy, like you talked about, Anark, that is not going to enable, equality and the betterment of people's life standards. So meanwhile, when people say, oh no, oh my God, people around the world, like we have 4 billion people now going from, 50 cents a day to like $1.50 a day. That is not happening fast enough. And as we see right now with the climate collapse and with the incredible amount of inequality of wealth, as we see with Elon and his cronies, it's extremely important for us to educate people. Look, this is our technical reality, guys. This is what we can do right now, but it'll never, ever be reached if we have this social system in place. So we have to educate people, inspire, inform, and as you're doing, form communities, collaborate, form coalitions that put pressure on the system, but at the same time, stripping people away, having them lose their hope in the system and joining our cause or whatever, the collective cause, to get people together to work on building co-ops and whatnot, all the things that we've been talking about for years. So if people don't have this fundamental understanding, the systemic awareness, along with the technical possibilities we have, then they're going to be ignorant. They're going to be like, you know what, history repeating itself.
I would like to emphasize, I think you really nailed something there. I'm going to switch it off to you here in a moment, Marlow. But I think one of the things that you really nailed there is this idea that history repeats itself, or even that it rhymes, as I saw somebody in the chat say. I think that what is really happening is it's similar systemic dynamics that are playing out. Right? It's the systemic dynamics being mirrored across periods of history. So of course the same dynamics are going to rhyme with one another, but it's not necessarily that history has to eternally repeat. It's that if you keep putting in place the same system with the same imperatives, with the same driving functions, that it is going to continually produce the same outcomes, the same internal dynamics. So which you said you wanted to address a comment there, Marlow. Which one was it?
I was going to say real quick. I was going to say the left is one directional. It's literally just going in one direction, and it's actually going backwards if you're not reading manga. So like we have a basically like a unifactorial way of understanding like opposition to this system that is only going back into the past. Like I was hanging out with a bunch of anarchists and communists and socialists and social democrats and liberal stock traders. It was a good, rowdy bunch, a good mix of people. But I had a couple of conversations with the fucking ghosts of communist past, I talked with multiple people that were just like, oh yeah, the People's Republic of China, the CCP, that's the answer to this. Oh yeah, we the people need to wage protracted war. They're using all this jargon from another century. To describe like what we the people must do, and it's just such an antiquated, useless thing. Like, what is the left? To the right, who dictates what the fucking political conversation is, period, because they just do. I don't know why, they just do. The right says the left is Joe Biden. Kamala Harris is extremely a far leftist. She is
Comrade Kamala. That's what they call her.
If only.
Communist.
If only, right?
A communist, and they really believe it, or they start believing it, and then the meme machine starts cooking, and then that beautiful technology you're talking about becomes a weapon against common sense. But yeah, it's like they think Kamala Harris who was a fucking capitalist pig, an arch capitalist pig who was like trying to out-hawk Trump in every way. Be like, I'm the true Republican. How dare you shame the good name of the late, great John McCain. Like, fuck these people. They are war criminals. They are pigs. They are the most oppressive, exploitative people. They are bold-faced, prison profiteering, fucking slave-mongering capitalists. They are not communists. Wait, real quick, Arjang, real quick.
Yeah.
So that's what the left is to most people. The left is trans, people are trying to turn your kids trans, or, DEI is trying to make you feel like shit for being a white person, or whatever. That's what they think the left is. They think it's identity politics. It doesn't touch like an economic system. That's not on the table. There is no articulated discussion around capitalism, the structure that we live in. No one is talking about that. Even someone like Bernie Sanders is not questioning that. He's just saying, I think actually we should treat our farm equipment better than intentionally dinging them into passing mailboxes. He's just like, don't treat people like shit. They're your equipment. They're going to fucking produce us growth. They're going to juice us our numbers up. Like, come on, just be smart. Like in Sweden or whatever, where they're playing a game. I'm wrapping this up because they're playing a game where they're harnessing the power of markets and people through state power to fucking create commodities, to make money, to extract out of the real world and turn it into nonsense speculative value, which is really where value is in this whole crazy system. It's all about fucking speculation and hype. So of course we have a parade balloon for a president. But yeah, we were talking about the left too. And then this other dude was talking about China, and basically he was like, oh, well, China is actually like, the peasants are on the council, and he described the whole structure of the CCP. And it's like, okay, even if China is like more like state and collectively organized, its purpose is still to do the same fucking thing, which is to extract abstract value and money out of society by producing bullshit to be bought for no fucking reason other than to buy it and take that money and reinvest it into something else. They're just doing capitalism. And the socialist, the fucking communist, said, that's what socialism is. I was like, okay, none of these words mean a fucking thing. And we just really need to move beyond the words. The words are holding us up, and the ideas are holding us up, or just identifying as a thing, like self-identifying as that's the essence of leftism or whatever ism, is that you just say that's what you are. And it has no connection to like what we're building and constructing and how we're creating our own social container to reinforce good values. Sorry, Arjang. Go ahead.
No, yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, your rant was being so epic that the stream cut off for a second because it couldn't handle the truth. But what I was gonna say is I had to write some notes down. But basically,
firing with this beauty.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is very cringy when people say that China is a leftist kind of system. If you want to know if China's left, just as Trump says, ask China. Ask China.
China.
Like, but like, it's funny, like. I often say this as a rebuttal to people who say that, like, China or the Soviet Union, or especially China right now, is a communist system. I asked them the question, does China use money? Yes. Does China have a strict hierarchy of, rich people and billionaires? Yes. Does China use trade? Yes. So fundamentally, based on those three premises, it is nothing but state-driven capitalism. So, no, the entire world is capitalist. It's been captured a long time ago. We don't have communism. We don't have socialism in the world. We have elements of it here and there, like the Scandinavian nations. But
I have concepts of socialism.
Yeah, a concept of a plan. But, like, the point is that that's the truth. And, like, the really sad reality is, guys, I think with this election, you're talking about left and all that, like the knee-jerk reaction people have to calling Joe Biden leftist. It's like, no, man. The Democrats have been so soundly defeated that I really think, this is my prediction, I really think that they're going to start discussing with themselves, hey, if we want to win the next elections, we got to copy Trump's strategy. We got to do what they're doing. So as the Republicans are like now, Trump is surrounding himself with a bunch of loyalists that only listen to what he has to say because they know that they'll learn their lesson. Anybody who goes against them, they'll lose their career or they get shut out. Because they're going to have a bunch of loyalists, no one's going to question Trump. It's going to go more and more right. The Republican Party is going to go more fascistic, more right. The Democrats, in their desperate attempt to kind of gain back the momentum, they're going to be like, you know what? We should also go a little bit right. Oh, we should go a lot more right. Yeah, who knows? Maybe let's go all right all the way.
Yeah, why they lost.
That's
like
absolutely exactly what's going to happen. I mean, they're already pivoting right. Like, if you look, there are like pundits, like liberal pundits and stuff, and you look at what MSNBC is saying, and they're honestly, I mean, it's mind blowing. But what they're concluding is that appealing to minorities, appealing to women, appealing to, the people who are generally more oppressed, that was their failure. They needed to pivot harder right. That's always their solution. It's been their solution since the Clinton era. But I should also note, I want to get to some of the people who've donated, obviously.
I wanted to read a comment.
One of the people here, $20, Sam again. Sam, you just like hooked me up this time. I'll take it, bro. I mean, you're like my angles this time.
Are we splitting these super chats?
Yeah, bro's giving me like $60 this time. I'll take it.
Is that the Commons? That's all you?
Thank you.
Anark. Be careful, Anark. You're going to become corrupted by all this money you're making. Be careful.
Sam, you're going to get too much control over this.
That flow, homie.
Okay, Sam says, spent last night with activist friends. Folks got radicalized in about 2015, committed to building things out of this that are non-electoral, council-based, materialist-oriented. We're about to see an influx like 2015. How do we handle it? I would like to say I absolutely agree that we're about to see a huge influx. In fact, I got to say I woke up today. Okay, I woke up, how you wake up in the morning and kind of look at your phone and stuff.
Did you say woke?
On every platform were flooded. My text messages were flooded.
Look who's come crawling back.
For real, literally just standing there kind of drowsily, like sweeping notifications off of my phone. Oh, damn. Marlow just went black. But like so many people, here's the thing, like when it happened last night, my impression was people were going to be sad, which lots of people are. People were going to be discouraged, which some people are. But I didn't expect a bunch of people were going to be like, I'm motivated. What do I do? Tell me more about how to do revolution, right? Like, no, but that is exactly what's happening. Like almost everybody who's reaching out to me is like, I want to do something. I need to do something. Tell me how to get plugged in. Tell me what to do. Like, where do I read? How do I, and should be said, Cooperation Tulsa, we got a bunch of new membership applications at the same time. And it is going to motivate a bunch of people to enter into our organizations, enter into the projects that we are managing. I will say Cooperation Tulsa, we're prepared. We've got it. Don't you worry. You come to Cooperation Tulsa and you've got labor to offer, we can utilize it. Don't you worry about that. But I think what we've got is there aren't necessarily Cooperation Tulsas waiting in every single place. We've got a lot of organizations that are going to take those energies and they're going to funnel them into more protests, more electoral campaigns, except for some DSA candidate or some PSL candidate or something.
Or the same.
Waste more people's time in the electoral system. And unfortunately, I do think it is the case that we don't necessarily have a bunch of these bodies that are available for a bunch of people who are in fact right now becoming very, very radicalized, who are very upset with what's about to happen. And things are going to get worse, yo. It's not even January 6th yet, right? Trump hasn't even taken office. We got time. And when he takes office, things are about to get way worse, way faster. And you're going to see all these organizations get bigger and bigger exponentially. So I just want to say for any of you that are listening right now, okay, because I know I got a lot of people that are organizers in my audience. I got a lot of people that if they aren't already organizing, they're already interested in organizing. And I just want to say right now, speaking to all of you in the audience, you need to prepare. Things are about to get a lot worse. You're going to have a lot more people wanting to join your organizations. You're going to have a lot more people wanting to get involved. You need to have some mechanism by which you are going to offer sort of education about the foundations of how to organize, the foundations of what a revolution actually looks like. You need to teach people what it looks like to cooperate together, what solidarity looks like. You need to have that prepared now, okay? Because you got a little bit of time. Right? You got about a month and a half before Trump actually takes office. We need these organizations up and ready to go. We need these containers ready to contain the next wave of organizers. I've said before that this is not to ramble too much. This is a tangent. I'm going to keep it short because I could tangent hard. But one of the things about organizing, when you create an organization, there are ebbs and flows, right? Like that much is kind of obvious. But one of the things is that organizations often are extremely effective in that flow period when they get all these new people and oh my God, they get so much done so fast. They get like years worth of work done in like 2 months or something, right? But then it sort of ebbs, goes away, and they don't have as much energy. So much of the time, organizations just go away. They literally just fall apart in that period of time. So what I've said to people before is a big part of keeping an organization long term is it's almost like, you know, you have this container as the tide ebbs and flows, and little by little, you know, the waves come in and it fills the container a little by little more. So we need these permanent fixtures, these organizational containers that are going to continually, as these new waves of radicalization take place, they're going to be there to accept new people into them, to harness the new energies of radicalization that are taking place. Because I don't think I need to tell anybody that this is a highly radicalizing event for many, many different people. I should also note before I hand it back off again, got another super chat. This one is from Space Horse for $10. I appreciate you enormously, by the way, all of you who are donating. They said, I'm one of
Open
thousands.
Civics.
What's up?
Oh, the homie in the chat just shouted out Open Civics. That's my guy. That's Benjamin Light.
Yeah, they'd said something beforehand, but I don't think you caught it.
Dude, we gotta do a stream with Benjamin. That guy's fucking on it.
Okay. Keep that in mind. But Space Horse donates $10. They said, I'm one of thousands of decentralized autonomous organizers that are practicing crypto anarchism. I jam on Breadchain and Open Civics. So that's exactly where we're at.
The online left hates us.
The online left hates us. Any advice for building towards cooperation? Well, I think a big part of it, I mean, I don't know. This probably is not a very satisfying answer, but when you come into left spaces and you're saying that you're doing any kind of, cryptocurrency or anything that even utilizes the blockchain, you need to be prepared for skepticism. Don't come in expecting that people are going to be like super open-minded to that. People have heard so much about that it has so many negative connotations that you need to presume they have negative connotations when you enter the room. And when you enter the room, you need to be prepared to discern what you are doing from the broader project of cryptocurrency. In what ways does it materially differ? Because I don't know anything about your exact examples. I'm hoping that there's differences, right? But I don't know anything about the differences. You need to be prepared when you enter left spaces to explain what those differences actually are and why those are substantive, why those matter. And you need to also be prepared because people are probably going to say a bunch of really critical stuff. So
Daniel, I know both of these people who do these projects, and I've actually like poured through the fucking crypto field, the left side of crypto, the like post-capitalist, like build a fucking commons-based mycelial infrastructure of like a decentralized open system that we communicate with and share resources, like building the fucking radical internet. Those people are fucking radical. They are seriously some of the coolest and most interesting and most cutting edge comrades, if you want to call them that are out there, that are actually doing the thing anarchists claim to do or be into, which is prefiguring new systems of power and literally programming into code the value systems that transcend capitalism intentionally. And so that's kind of like the power in Web3 or the liminal web. We're beyond Web3 at this point, but there's tons of people out there. And if you're interested in programming or coding, like you are some of the most important people in our fucking like magical fight. You're our mages. Like we need to design radically more effective and efficient and open and transparent and safe and secure ways of communicating and connecting and networking ourselves together to share fucking resources. That's what it all comes down to. Like Arjang has talked so much about the bullshit of the market system. We need to move into the network system. Markets are competitive. Markets are a zero-sum dynamic where it's me against you and we're competing over artificially scarce resources and we're separatized. We're all in our little bubble screens. Whereas a cooperative system, you're going beyond that. You're in a network.
Yeah.
You're connected to each other as nodes, and there's just flows of resources going between you rather than this this bully mentality of competitive trade. Like, I give you this and you give me that and we're good. Go ahead.
So
Arjang.
I want to hand it off to Arjang because I originally intended to read one of the donor comments and then hand it off to Arjang. So Arjang, I don't know if you even remember what you were originally going to say, but
Sorry about that.
here's the spotlight.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna dare to be a little divisive here, guys, and bring about a point that I think is relevant in my view. So, unlike you guys, my original education into activism and becoming radicalized, I didn't read a single book on communism, didn't read any books on socialism or anarchism. I was just like a kid with no political, completely apolitical, but I just cared about the world growing up, growing up on the other side of the world in Iran and seeing all the crazy nastiness going on over there with the dictatorial regime, and then coming here and then witnessing, just a lot of different things in my life. And I just came to a point, long story short, I was introduced to systems thinking and out system thinking with the Venus Project, the Zeitgeist movement, an individual called Jacques Fresco, who's an industrial designer, systems thinker, inventor, social engineer. And, so my point is, like, when it comes to communicating to people in the external and trying to bring them on board with what we're trying to do here, and in an attempt to, like, impress upon them the efficiency of what we're trying to achieve here and why it's so important to think along our lines, do you guys agree that, like, ultimately, I agree with you totally with all these labels and these terms, but would it be
fuck the labels? Move beyond them.
Yeah, sorry, not the labels. I'm saying, like, what I'm saying, like, when it comes to communication, because communication is a technical process, right? Thought itself is a technical process, and so would it be good to, like, at certain points to be like, look, guys, this whole idea of right and left, forget about it. How about what doesn't work and what actually works? So when you look at the economy, the definition of economy, which is the Greek definition, increase efficiency, reduce waste.
Oikos nomos.
Exactly. So reduce waste, increase efficiency. So, okay, we want to have a society that actually works. People can't even think along true economic lines these days. It's about economic growth and GDP. No, an economy is meant to help people improve public health and maintain environmental sustainability, maintaining dynamic equilibrium with our planet while making sure people are well fed and taken care of. Now, that is in and of itself a technical process. It's a technical thing. You get down, you create a formula, and you devise a plan on how to distribute resources in an intelligent manner, make sure we preserve, and using the technology we have to create the infrastructure and the efficiency enabling mechanisms. And one thing I love to talk about often with people is, like, forget about left, forget about right, up and down, out and in. You look at a country and imagine the economic principle of localization. I love talking about this concept because localization, meaning you try to localize resource creation and distribution, manufacturing, production as much as possible. Now, it's not some utopia where everything's going to be localized. No, but like food production, instead of shipping avocados from Mexico to California, where you have sun in California, you have plenty of good weather. You try to localize that food production using, permaculture, vertical farms, urban farming techniques, which we have many people who are way better than what I know. You localize food production, you localize material production, maybe use 3D printers, and you give people the true ability to participate in a democratic system, which enables them, like maybe using an iPhone. You get on your iPhone, you order what you need without money, without trade. You order what you need on the phone, on your devices. And the nearby distribution center or tools library center produces what you need for you. You go there, pick it up, you share it with your friends. When you're done using it, you return it to the system, or you let it be taken apart using nanotechnology. Like, so we can do so many incredible things with our technology right now. And localization, removal of wasteful labor, open source instead of private enterprise, which if we can just show people, like, look, man, I don't try to convince you to be a communist or socialist. Here's the deal. Here, as Joe Biden says, here's the deal.
Fuck yeah.
You say, listen, dude. Where was I going with that? It's very important. Like, you tell somebody, listen, bro, instead of having wasteful labor, like, instead of having a system that exploits your labor, wastes your life away, use automation, use technology to benefit your life. And, you show them studies. It's very important to show people studies after study after study how competition is divisive. It's actually not leads to innovation, and how the free market system of, the characteristic analogy of, like, oh yeah, money putting in this industry or that industry, that enables better innovation. No, like, there's so many books like Drive by Daniel Pink, The Spirit Level by Richard Wilkinson, so many different books and studies that show that actually in a non-hierarchical setting, horizontal power structure where people actually are able to contribute using cooperative systems, it just works better. Going back to what I said, forget about up, left, right, and all that. What works and what doesn't, And like, so, I was part of the RCA, the Revolutionary Communists of America, which Anark, I'll be posting that video eventually, where we bash these.
Wait, you went to RevCom? Oh my God, they're the worst of the worst.
Yeah, I was part of the RCA, and they kicked me out without any they didn't tell me what they're doing. But
wait, do they call themselves RevCom?
No, they call them RCA, the Revolutionary Communists of America.
Oh,
believe it or not, that's different. Believe it or not, that's a different group. There's Revolutionary Communists of America. Then there's RevCom, and I don't actually think that's the same people.
I was in LA, and it was just like we were out in like City Hall, just watching on this big ass projector, and everything just started going to shit. And I was just going through all the different protest groups and the anarchist group and the climate activists. It was like the fucking warriors, man. And I was just going from faction to faction. And at one point with every faction I was with, somebody went, man, fuck RevCom. Oh, I fucking hate those guys. Everyone was like, fuck those guys. They're like, I actually want to live in a better world.
Yeah,
so yeah,
but just to finish,
the left-right thing is it's annoying as fuck. Go ahead, Arjang.
No,
you got to hear Arjang talk like this in the fucking Russian Turkish baths in New York City, like getting into a fight with some fucking
guys.
He's a fucking amazing, man.
I actually I'm not gonna rant too much, but I just want to say me and my friends, me and my friends sometimes I go to this thing called the bathhouse, like extremely cold water, and then sitting in a sauna. And my friends just join me because they're like, we know Arjang is gonna get into it with some Wall Street douchebag in there, some finance expert, and then I just demolished them. I just leveled them, with kindness. But anyway.
With kindness.
Yeah, with kindness. He says with kindness.
You guys don't know this.
All right.
Arjang is a fucking MMA fighter who I have seen whoop literally 6 dudes in a row in a ring, just one after another, just fucking whoop them, every one of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, not to get carried away, I just want to make one quick point. Sorry. One quick point is when you tell people about the principle of localization, why do we localize? Well, environmentally it's friendly, but also since we hate this thing called Trump phenomenon with the inequality, guess what? Localization brings about true equality because globalization is a mechanism that is all about inequality. It fosters inequality. Otherwise, why would we globalize? Why do we have slave labor in Thailand or Indonesia bring us our clothing here instead of having people work here? Because they don't want to pay people a living wage. So when you explain these things to people and make them understand using studies, using anthropological data, sociological data, you make them come to the conclusion that, okay, capitalism sucks. And then here's the solution. The solution is to simply use logic, the process of logic, and obviously using AI. The things we have at our disposal is incredible. John Etzler in his book called The Paradise Within the Reach of All Men, he wrote about it, how in the 1700s, using steam engines, we could have had people not work these shitty jobs and be able to bring about an abundance. Today's technology, we can do so much more. So anyway, that was basically my point, and how, but yeah.
So hey, let's recenter the discussion, right?
Yeah. Can I bring this in? Because somebody said a comment a while ago.
Yeah. Well, what's the comment? I can bring it up on screen. Which one is it?
I don't know. I can't find it again. But it was someone said, "I'm non-binary and I'm fucking scared. I'm scared for my life, and I want to know what are answers outside the system." And I just want to. This was the last rant I went on for a lot of fucking normies last night, and it's a very sobering moment for all of them. I was just making jokes the whole fucking night. Trump is going to win. They're like, no, women are coming out in storm. Oh, Gen Z is going to. And I was just like, the motherfucker's already won. It's cooked. The goose is cooked, my friend.
So I'll comment on that. Okay, go ahead. So it's funny because, I was just, there was a video by Jessie Jinder. Jessie Jinder, right before the election, she created a video that was kind of subtly a response to my response to ContraPoints, which that's the most YouTube thing that I could have said there, right? But she was kind of, presenting a more pro-voting perspective. I'm not even trying to make a big commentary on that. But what I am trying to make a comment on is one part of her video where she basically what she said was, listen, I'm in this situation because, she's transgender. And what she's saying is I'm in this situation where if a Republican wins, chances are super strong that I'm going to be deprived of treatment in some sense. And the system as it stands provides me treatment. And you say that we should build dual power. You said that, we should prefigure the alternative system. But where I am right now, that doesn't exist, right? That's not there. It's not in place. It may be in place for 1 or 2 or a dozen people to perhaps get their treatment, but there is not a system in place, an alternative system in place that provides that at scale to thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that need gender affirming treatment. Right. And I actually think that's a super strong point. That is essentially where we are at. We're telling everybody, hey, we want to provide these alternative services, but we need to actually do the work of creating the alternative services. Right. It has to exit the realm of ideals and ideas and concepts and to enter the realm of real implementation. I think that's where we're really at if we want to create something which can actually bring many people of all kinds of oppressions, not just trans people, but all kinds of oppressions to the fore, to a dual power strategy, to the prefigurative method.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can use this guy to manufacture fur because it's so fluffy. Actually, what I was going to say is Peter Joseph, I'm very excited about what's going to be proposed pretty soon. Because the founder of the Zeitgeist movement, a guy who I really look up to very much, he pretty much set me on my path. I watched a documentary many years ago. He mentioned to me recently he's going to shut down all the Zeitgeist movement's pages and all that stuff and refigure them to make them integral. So he's coming out with a hybrid economy concept in which people can still live in a capitalist system. They don't have to join a commune or some kind of a community that's isolating them from their current lifestyle, but creating some kind of hybrid economy where either using our labor, using our technology or our energy or our money, we invest into it in some way, but it's some kind of a collective process, which I don't know the exact details of. He hasn't disclosed it to me. But if we form some kind of a system which globally can enable people to input into it, their decision, their ideas, their contributions, whether it's money or labor, and then be able to siphon away from the capitalist system, starve the beast, so to speak, Finding ways to do that would be very important. And that is where the innovative capacity of us needs to come in. People need to start innovating and using their creativity to find ways in which, without disrupting people's lifestyles too much, enabling them to contribute to some kind of a parallel economy that exists alongside the capital system. Because we can't just go from 0 to 100 right away. We have to find some way to go from capitalism to capitalism's here, the end goal's here, where, there's got to be some way to enable us to go to the other side. And that is the main challenge right now that we face right now. All the educational stuff is great. I do my job educating people, presenting solutions and presenting data and evidence. That's all good. But we have to have something to show them, hey, guys, no matter where you are in the world, here's a way where you can input whatever money you have, labor you have, time or creativity to enable us to get there. And that is going to be ultimately the key. That's going to be the key to have us show some receipts to people. Hey, this is what we're doing, guys. We're not just all talk here. This is what we're doing. And I'm very excited to see how that turns out eventually. And when it does turn out, when it's finally shown to me, I will share with everybody that I know. But that's where we're at. Maybe Zach, you might have an idea of what he might be on.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what I don't know what Peter Joseph's onto, but that's been the space I've been exploring the last few years. Is that's transitional space, and that's kind of what we were talking about with the Web3 stuff and with projects like Open Civics and Breadchain, and people in the platform cooperative space, people working to build new networks and build new structures and reconnect with old currencies like grassroots economics. Little groups nobody fucking knows about because they're out there living in Kenya with indigenous people, reconstituting pre-monetary coordination systems and then bringing them onto a dummy simple blockchain that's just a contract where basically, a little backpedal basically. Okay, so these people in Kenya, they have a system called Mweria, which is basically everybody comes together in an assembly and they say what they need. And they say what they have to contribute, basically. They're like, I need help on my roof. And they're like, all right, got you. And they're like, I need help pulling my crops out. All right, bet. They're like, I need help, with a fucking haircut, whatever. Everybody goes in and pools their commitment. And where'd everybody go?
I'm trying this out. We're gonna switch. We're gonna switch based on who's talking. You go.
So everybody pools their commitments together, and that forms a social contract. And basically, the way we talk about money, they're like, I'll be good. I've got the money. Fuck everybody else. They're like, we're good, actually. We have Mueria. We have the sum total of all of our social, like our social contract of all the people committing to it and committing and pooling their labor, pooling their resources. So yeah, there's so many fundamental principles of this. I like to think about it like economic permaculture, where you're creating these parallel ecosystems that are mutually invested into each other, where we're creating networks where we're volunteering or we're reciprocating each other with community currencies or our own social contracts that allow us to exist outside the monetary economy, outside of the dependence on capital, basically, and financial capital and national currency, or some stupid Ponzi scheme version of Bitcoin or whatever, some cryptocurrency that's still just a market gaming mechanic that's falsely designed for the wrong purpose, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to get into that. But yeah, basically, there's a video on our channel, our Money the Society, called The Transition. And it's like an hour-long deep dive on basically like feeling our way through how such a system could work and how we can actually, in our own lives, in our own communities, exit out of individualism, me being stuck in this window, not being able to see the other homies. There we go. That's much better. We can basically exit out of this paradigm of like my bank account, my house, my rent, my economic needs. This is the fundamental thing I've never heard a fucking communist in my life talk about. Actually coming out of individually managing our economic lives into coming together with other people in our fucking communities, our friends, our family, people we know, and people in distributed networks that got our back because we're in it together. And encoding these networks, designing them, developing them, programming them, and connecting them into webs of solutions around the world. Because believe it or not all of us are broke activists who are barely struggling to feed ourselves. Some of the people maybe watching this are rocket scientists or are people who have resources or means. All of us together have way more than we have alone. And so that's like the most basic and fundamental thing to do when the system fucking fails you. And somebody was talking about this last night, like, oh, the Trump supporters, they're evil. And I was like, no, they're just scared. They're just scared people who don't have a better alternative. And we need to connect with them based on our shared fucking needs.
Okay, well, here's one of their comments. We have Indiana Sunset.
Hell yeah, baby. Hey, shit, man, with the commies. Trump won. Get it done.
Wait, is that a joke or is he being serious?
I don't know, but they said it and it's amazing. That's
awesome.
hilarious.
It's awesome.
Right when I was empathizing with their people.
Yes, yeah, right as you were empathizing, that's what one of them said.
Yeah, but basically, okay, it's materialism versus idealism is not fucking complicated. You don't need to know what dialectical materialism to understand that ideas alone and people proclaiming, I am a revolutionary and I'm here to save you, I'm here to create horizontal power structure. You know, that's not as powerful as meeting somebody's fucking needs through their stomach. Organizing a meal, feeding them, meeting some basic need, treating them like a human being, like, hey, how can I help you? How you doing? What's going on? As a human, not as an anarchist, not as a capitalist, not as an anythingist, as a bloke, as a dude, as a neighbor.
The thing is, right now with today's technology, with ephemeralization or the the ability for us to do
more with less.
Yeah, much more with much less, I would say, because things are getting incredibly out of whack with the technology just advancing so rapidly. We can do that now. So going back to what I said with Peter's parallel economy system, like imagine some hypothetical situation where, like, instead of relying on these corporations that exploit your labor, that take advantage of you, where you don't even know where the products come from, how much exploitation is associated to that product that you're buying. You don't know how much death and destruction was caused to buy that product. Instead of that, you have people, hey guys, we have this collaborative system. We can input some money or whatever. And somewhere in our collaborative network, you can see where that money is being put to action. Where somebody somewhere is actually, we have an innovative team. They're getting together to work on ways to make sure that we meet our energy needs or our needs, in terms of food production and whatnot. Like if we can find some kind of a system in which people can be shown with that, complete full transparency that whatever they're contributing is showing some result, which is not based on growth, not based on competition, or any other nonsense, the trade that's associated with the system. If we can show people that and a way in which it can be distributed in an intelligent manner, where there's not too much production, not wasteful overruns, things that exactly met as they're supposed to be done. And that way we can slowly starve the beast. So take away from the system. Don't contribute to it. don't contribute to the growth mechanism, which is cancerous, ultimately destructive to the ecosystem and creates inequality. That is, I think, the key. That is ultimately the key. And if we can start happening in small bits here and there around the world, that is the way we can start radicalizing it and getting this concept to expand. Because ultimately, all we really need is that 1%. If we can use it, yeah. Go ahead.
So
Yeah,
here's
Daniel,
the thing. I've been reading this book, Full Spectrum Resistance by Eric McBay, which if you've been watching any of my previous videos, you know that I keep saying Eris McBay. So somehow I thought his first name was Eris instead of Eric. I don't know. You can just pretend that I say it correctly in the 2 videos where I discuss it. But anyway, he's been talking about this concept of a culture of resistance. And one of the things that he says that cultures of resistance, these cultures that actually successfully fight back against incursion by imperialism and hierarchical systems colonizing their areas and so on, they have this list of qualities. And some of the qualities he mentions, and I think these are really important, are parallel institutions and subsistence and community sufficiency. So basically what he says is, cultures that are able to resist incursion by dominating power structures have parallel institutions, and they have the ability to subsist on their own as a community. They have community sufficiency. So let's see here. I'll just read like a portion of this. It's only a couple paragraphs. I'll just read kind of what's being said here. For city dwellers in an industrial age, it's easy to forget that successful resistance movements throughout history have been materially self-sufficient. Free communities grew, gathered, hunted, and fished their own foods. They relied on the commons. They made their own houses.
Yeah, baby.
And as discussed in the chapter on logistics, they often equipped themselves with their own weapons, communications equipment, medical services, and so on. Indeed, the freedom to be self-sufficient on their people's land was often the primary reason for struggle. Occupiers always tried to separate resistance movements from the land and herd the people into controlled settlements, whether Indian reservations in the occupied Americas, the Jewish ghettos in the occupied Europe, or the strategic hamlets, quote unquote, in Vietnam. Community sufficiency is especially important in a time of economic and industrial decline. No resistance movement will be able to succeed in the coming decades without rebuilding or strengthening both its ties to the land and its capacity for self-reliance.
Yep. It's all about the commons. I mean, it's all about, basically, that's the beginning of capitalism, is the enclosure of the commons. And we don't have commons. We don't have common pool resources. This is how people manage resources: water supplies, food supplies, the social system, the environment that we share are managed as a commons. It's not owned. It's not owned by the state. It's not owned by the business guys. It's not owned by landlords. It's managed together. I mean, and there's simple iterations of this, like community land trusts, that can actually allow you to free land. If land is not free and people have to pay rent, we are not free. And so we need to enter into a process of actually engaging with the financial energies of the world in buying back as much of the fucking land of the earth as we can to leverage your grandmother's fucking property that no one's laying on, or maybe you're fucking rich and you live on planet fucking earth, because we all do, and we're all in this together. And we need to fucking share, or we're going to go extinct. We're going to let these dumb motherfuckers dominate us out of existence. And we're going to allow ourselves to be cucked and coddled and duped by cheap con men to get us to hoard our resources and think, I'm strong because I'm a man. Like, fuck you guys. Fuck that behavior. Fuck that attitude. And that's not a class thing. That's not a left thing. That's not a right thing. That's a common fucking decency thing.
That's a human survival thing. It's a human survival thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Our default nature as a species is to be cooperative. Right. That's our default. If you look at what we are, like, it's not to say that there's no competitive aspect to the primates. Right. There is. But if you look at what makes humanity successful, it is this ability to cognitivize our environment. But it's also the ability to create complex communities of cooperation. That's what allowed us to be better than baboons. You know, people always love to point out, they're like, oh man, well, baboons, you know, they're really, they like to compete a whole lot. It's like, yeah, well, notice baboons
Yeah, they're fucking
are
baboons,
not controlling the planet, right? Like,
Well,
notice it's not
in our
baboons
case, Daniel,
that
they are.
created the modern human society. It was humans. Right? Humans created modern human society, and they did it by cooperating. They did it by this sort of collaborative effort to defeat all of the hurdles that lie in front of them. You know, this is kind of dark, but it's also indicative of the point. So when
Go
here's
dark
the
with
interesting
it,
part,
please.
okay, on
It's so
every continent, even after the Ice Age, megafauna existed. That is to say, massive creatures. They're called megafauna because they're huge, okay? Big, dominant creatures. They dominated the ecosystems. Everywhere humanity went, we were smaller and weaker and slower than the things that wanted to kill us. Yet, we succeeded by going to every single continent with our fucking brains, by the process of cooperation and collaboration to I mean, as sad as it is, to destroy, to kill all of the megafauna, okay? Which is bad, you know, it's not good, but it's indicative of the fact of what I'm getting across here. And that is what made us dominant as a species is that collaborative aspect. It is cooperation. It is us being able to cognitivize and conceptualize our environment and then act strategically together. That is what makes us powerful. It is not the competitive aspect. Nothing of competition was beneficial for our species. Okay. That's why baboons live in baboon environments, and we are here talking through computers.
Yeah, and to quote Alfie Kohn, that great, you know, lecturer and educator on childhood development, asking the question, how much competition is good for you, is like asking how much sugar is good for your teeth. None. Yeah, I mean, the only competition should be with ourselves to improve ourselves, but then you wouldn't even call that competition. And I would say the only enemies to humanity should be things that threaten all of us, which is not one person or any group. What should be the only thing that threatens us are like things like viruses, earthquakes, and meteors. Those are the things we should be innovating and trying to find solutions to, not like, you know, other groups that we should be trying to kill or immigrants that we should try to kick out. You know, that's what we should unify us as a species. Try to stop disease, viruses, earthquakes. Those are the things we should be working on trying to improve from, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So if you look at what the hierarchs want, right? You look at all these people that want a society of domination. What they want is a society of reversion. Babies. They want a society where we are weaker. They want a society where we follow a rule for life that doesn't even match how we got here. All of the hierarchy is exploitative. It's parasitic. It essentially parasitizes our cooperative instinct. The cooperative instinct that got us here has nothing to do with hierarchy. It has everything to do with us working together to get things done. Hierarchy is a parasite on our cooperative instinct. That is exactly what it is. And the only reason why they have that power is because they extract that power from our cooperative instinct. And that's the thing. I think that's the thing that infuriates me the most about the dialogue around competition and cooperation. Is it's like competition is a luxury of a society that has already been built by cooperation. The only reason why we have this society where cooperation can ever be carried out is because we've created the foundations, the basis that allows competition to safely take place.
It can afford it.
Yes, exactly. We can afford to compete. We can only afford to compete because
we can afford to make our entire society into a fucking game, to gamify our fucking society. And that's the tragically about it. Go ahead.
Tragically, we're getting to a point now where we can no longer afford to have these things happen. We can no longer have, you know, back in the day, you have sticks and stones fighting each other. You have javelins, then you have Roman catapult. But today's age, with incredible, totally devastating climate-changing technology and then nuclear weapons, we cannot have this foolish game anymore of competition. We cannot be foolish enough to continue this nonsense, you know, because we are literally threatening all life on this planet with the stupid ideology of competition and growth and all this nonsense. So, That is why ultimately it is ultimately in a lot of ways, besides the movement building, it is an educational imperative. If Americans actually knew what their true enemy is, which is the system that's been wrapping its hands around their throats slowly over time, they wouldn't have this whole blame gameism that's going on, and so yeah, that ultimately comes down, it's a dire and desperate educational imperative for us to reach out to our fellow man and educate them on what works and what doesn't.
I want to get back to this was another answer to one of those people, because one of those comments just touched me, that a lot of people are scared right now, that a lot of the people I was watching this whole thing roll down with were not confidently having a conversation about the mechanisms of hierarchy underneath it. They have systematically, and speaking of games, that was the thing, is they had to turn the fucking TV off to play a goddamn game. And it was just like, I was like, can we not do this? Can we deal with reality? And somebody took me aside and was like, oh, they're not ready for that. It's just, you just got to let them have something about anxiety. And it's just like, are we fucking adults? Are we fucking big people? Like, do we, take care of our own needs? Like, are we responsible? Are we capable? And it's the fact that we don't deal with this stuff head on. We fucking construct games and illusions and distractions. And that's why our fucking political reality is indistinguishable from reality TV.
I check out this channel once in a time. It's called Secular Talk. That guy, Kyle Kalinske or whatever. And I mean, that guy just infuriates me. Yeah, he's got a lot of good points, but like, he's made all his post-election videos now about like, oh yeah, here's what the deal, guys. This is what the Democrats need to start doing. The Democrats need to start. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's like, the Democrats now this is what we gotta do, guys.
This is ridiculous. It's drug addict behavior.
Yeah, it is.
I want to say this because I want to give a little hope that, like, I said this to this girl. It was like, okay, it's not negative to say the system has fucking failed you and it's not going to keep working. It's not negative for Kyle Kulinski or any lib commentator to be like, sunk cost fallacy accepted. Okay, you're right. We're not going to tweak the system by being more smug than it. We're not going to be right. We're not going to be able to write our way into changing this fucking system that was designed from the fucking get-go. Like, listen to the minutes in the founding fathers meetings. They're fucking recorded. And they're just like, how are we going to stop democracy? How are we going to stop the people from having a say? We'll create a system of representation to distract them and keep them from, okay. But yeah, basically, like, hope, real hope is not to be found inside the system. And if you have an ounce of hope left in the system, that is all the hope you give yourself the ability to have. Just 1 ounce. That's it. And it's not hopeful. It's not optimistic to go on believing that heroin is going to eventually make you fucking well. It's just crazy. It's just wrong. It's just wasteful. That, like, the system is not going to fucking fix itself. It's designed not to do that. And when you say, oh, but I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be negative. You're being negative. And you're annihilating all real value and all real possibility and all real hope, something you believe in, something that holds us together. Like, all of us, the things in our lives that matter, that we stand for, love and friendship and kindness and sharing and laughter and, like, making life fun and good. Those things don't take a fucking pinky toe into politics. And the fact that we have allowed that to happen is a failure. It is a failure to have the courage to say, fuck your false hope. I want to know what's possible. Like what Arjang is talking about. I want to use fucking nanotechnology to create infinite fucking abundance. I want to grow materials. I don't want to mine. I don't want to boss people around. I don't want $5 more an hour. Fuck that. I want to be free. I want my fellow human beings to be free. I want what is technically possible to happen, not what is politically feasible. And human life was not politically feasible. Nothing on this earth that has ever been good, that has ever moved us forward, has been likely or plausible. The fucking people in the back saying, well, I don't know if this is going to work out, were always wrong when it came to improving society. So fuck them. Your hope should be
absolutely.
Found in
it's that
each other.
Bookchin quote. If we do not do the impossible, we shall be faced with the unthinkable, right? It's precisely what it is. And I just want to note we got a $10 donation from Unpredictable Axolotl. They say, Zachary and Arjang, could you plug your platforms and our projects? I know you did at the beginning of the stream, but they're going to, I'd like to know where to find y'all. You're cool. Yeah, it's exactly why I have these two on the stream, because they're both cool. And so listen, y'all, please do your thing. Arjang, go. You can go first.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we should definitely do more of these, man, because we really bounce on ideas off of each other continuously. So it's really awesome. It's giving me a lot of hope and energy. I mean, I tell people all the time, I joke around. Listen, I don't need coffee in the morning. If I'm tired and sleepless and I wake up to go to work in the morning, all I need is some guy out the street to be like, "Yo, define capitalism for me." I'm like, "All right, I got my caffeine. I got my caffeine. All right, let's get to work."
Capitalism is free market.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, yeah. Thank you so much for calling me cool. I don't know if I'm cool or not, but my channel is called World Beyond Capitalism, and I'm a moderator for a global sustainability advocacy organization called the Zeitgeist Movement, which I really encourage you guys to check out. They do some good work. We have over 500 hours of lectures on the Zeitgeist channel's main website, and yeah, so my channel is called World Beyond Capitalism, and then I really like this book. If I can share anything with you guys on this video, I really love this book, The New Human Rights Movement. I highly recommend people to check that out. Really good solutions in there, and yeah, it's the basis of a lot of my education, on this. So yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm
about to link your channel. I know that Zachary is in between channels right now.
Link this. This is a playlist of shorts and teasers from the film Epic Odyssey that I've been working on. I've been living in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Send it to me and I'll link it.
So yeah, I work with Arjang a lot. We've been cooking it on, coming together and rocking the mic in various ways and making, actually working together a lot on a film project that I've been working on the last 5 years.
Oh, we gotta get it done, bro.
Epic, ever expanding drive to dive into the issues and crack open what the fuck is going on in the world and why. And how our system works, how really systems are what we're dealing with, not issues, not politicians, not personalities, systems. And the answer is constructing systems. And so we've been constructing an incredible journey that has been just fucking literally taking me all over the world on this, in the gift economy of like, just following the fucking fire that is in human
Trailblazer. Be a human.
World. I've been on 5
oh shit! Are we gonna get an Alex Jones impression? I'm so ready for an Alex Jones impression.
wait.
Yeah,
let me finish my shout out first. Oh yeah, so we've been shooting a film. You can go to anotherworld.earth and learn a little bit more about it. I'm gonna link a playlist of films that's on the Moneyless Society channel. That's where a lot of my work and rants are. That's a great organization you can join if you're interested in mutual aid. And I'm working with the Venus Project. I'm working with Arjang. I'm like Ferris Bueller. I'm with all the factions. Anybody who's trying to make the world better or even thinks they are, like, I'm infiltrating these days. Like, you would not fucking believe the weird circles that I've been in the last week.
No, you're doing
trying to bring about a better world.
Just real quick to answer his question, or her, I'm not sure who it is, but like the old school Zeitgeist thing. Yeah, there was a documentary called Zeitgeist, the movie, which pretty much it was a great documentary, very well sourced. It exposed 9/11. It exposed religion. And exposed the banking system. But that was not really the thing. After that, Peter Joseph, he went to the Venus Project and worked with an individual called Jacques Fresco. And after that, he created Zeitgeist Addendum. And then Zeitgeist moving forward with those documentaries launched a movement. And back in, 2008, it gained a lot of momentum. And they were doing amazing work. But over the years, man, people just got burnt out and they kind of faded and stuff. So I'm one of the only really active Zeitgeist movement members in the United States. I think it's much more active in I think Europe right now, but that's basically the Zeitgeist movement. But going back to Zach, man, Zach is awesome. I love Zach because Zach, it was back in 2021 it was, or 2022.
2021.
I remember this weird guy messaged me on Instagram saying, "Hey man, I like your communication style, I like your energy. I want to make a documentary and I want to invite you on this journey if I can come to Brooklyn and start shooting videos with you. What do you say?" I was like, dude, I'm fucking underslept and depressed right now in my life. I don't have much going on. I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm the guy for this. But he believed in me and he showed up to Brooklyn. He got into an apartment with your friend Vision, literally 2 blocks away.
There were other synchronicities in there. I was shooting videos for the crazy Paperboy Prince, who is one of the most interesting outsider politicians. And I find Arjang and I'm like, "Hey, you're in New York City. Let's fucking shoot something." And he's 2 blocks away. He's literally
it's crazy. It's crazy how it worked out. It was not planned. It just happened to work that way.
I remember you you're laying on your couch with one of those vaporizer space bags and you just inhaled it. And you just explained to me The Cancer Stage of Capitalism by John McMurtry and about how there's the money sequence of life and value. That's basically this self-maximizing cancer. And then there's the life sequence, which is infinitely regenerative. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Where did he come from? And he looks like Robert De Niro and he boxes people.
What are we doing over here? What are
Who's
we
this
doing over
character?
here?
He's a crazy
What are
cat
you doing?
man. Like Arjang.
We got
he's a-
three
he's an
beautiful
amazing
people
trainer.
in here. Let me tell you,
we do.
I think we've had a comment on everybody here being attractive people. I think at
Oh,
this
thank
point,
you, gang.
yeah.
We're glad you enjoyed the show.
No, but just to say real quick, like, man, Zach, I really like Zach is awesome because Zach
RJ,
injected a
love
lot
you
of
too, buddy.
energy and positivity. And, you know, man, I've always been a diehard anti-capitalist, but like, you know,
Always.
there was a point where I was kind of like very diminished because I was having some sleep issues and. You know, I went through, I think it was a bad breakup. Something was that really bothered me. And then
Arjang, I think it was an economic system based on scarcity and domination. I think that's what
yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I was just like burnt out, like just working many hours. And then between the times that I was like not working, he would be like, yo, listen, bro, we're going to the bridge to shoot a video. I want you to rant about why money sucks while overlooking the bridge. I'm like, damn, bro, this is crazy. Are you sure this is going to work? But it worked out, and I'm so happy that I'm very honored to be part of this project. And goddamn it, Zach, let's get this movie published already. Let's go.
Yeah, we're in the phase of like building a production company. I'm trying to build like the fucking storytelling engine for the revolution. I'm trying to build this film in a film studio. I'm out here in Topanga, in California, overlooking the evil empire of Los Angeles. I'm trying to basically hack into the story beam and shoot this fucking movie of blowing capitalism apart and putting it back together in amazing solutions all over the world, like building a fucking like a life like a ladder across the fucking rapids of amazing solutions that are out there. That the solutions are out there. That's one thing I can remind all people. That's what makes me hopeful, is that it's not theory. Is that you have to get out the door. You have to leave your comfort zone. You have to leave. Honestly, this is going to be painful for a lot of people, but you have to sort of let go of a lot of the people in your life that are just not going to fucking ever care about the stuff you're talking about, and find the others. Find the other people out there that have a fucking moneyless commune in Italy where everybody pitches in $50 a week and everybody only has to cook dinner one night a week, and you use fucking Cyber Nation in your Telegram group to fucking just make life perfect, and you do nothing but have beautiful conversations about the better world we all know is possible. Like, these places exist. There's a place in Spain, in all the anarchist country, where there's a whole fucking town called Mondragon.
What about Mondragon? Is that Mondragon?
It's like freaking 30,000 people in a federation of cooperatives that's all interconnected, and they have a fucking corporate congress and like levels of fucking engagement. They have a representative system. It's not perfect, but it's fucking awesome. And they're out competing the system. We talk about a parallel system. The fucking answers are out there. We create structures, work within the system, build something better with our own labor, with our own love and commitment, and fucking connect it together, federate it.
Agreed, 100%.
Content about all this shit soon. I'm starting a new channel. Another World is Possible.
Also, is that what you're gonna? You decided? Did you just name it on the spot?
Of course.
Oh,
is that it? You just named it.
That was premeditated.
Wow, he dropped it on this video. Damn,
that's it.
honored.
Yeah, everybody.
Damn,
this is historic. This will go in the history books. You understand? That's it right there. We just found the name for Marlow's new channel.
No, that's been the name. It's the first film is Another World. Fucking Arjang. Okay, all right.
Trailblazer.
Hey, do the Justin Bieber one. Come on, give us what we all paid for.
I'm not in the element, but I'll try. Like,
come on, you're in the element. Look at all the super chats you made.
Be a trailblazer. What, the super chats? Oh God. So, let's see.
Justin Bieber.
Mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secret of the universe is all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. But they want to shudder your mind talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil.
That gets my gold star of approval.
And give you Nicki Minaj and Biebler.
Biebler? Did he say that? Did he say Biebler?
And Biebler says, hand in your guns, pay the Cybersecurity Act, and then the police state is cool. You know,
he said Biebler for real. That's so good,
guys. Like
that's
when I was living in LA, I was like just impersonating Alex Jones all day with my friends. They're like, dude, we're tired of shit. I think,
dude, he doesn't stop. We're eating fucking crab legs, and you're just like going off on these
crab legs are incredible.
About Bill Gates' chicken
McNelly. You know,
just like fully in character. This guy's insane. Yeah, Arjang, talk about activism. Talk about activism. Come on.
Yeah. Well, sadly, what happened was I had a very successful.
No, don't get into the fucking problem.
No. I'm explaining like how like I had a successful training fitness business, which I'm still trying to get back into. I talked about Zionism and they kicked me out of it. So I'm trying to get back into it. But my plan was to shoot a really comprehensive fitness system. That's about not just like
about Zionism.
Yeah. Zionism. I'm such
Excuse
an
me.
anti-Zionist.
I just like to make an argument.
Well, like I was talking
RJ,
about.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's still gonna happen one day once I get my facilities back and all that. But like, I'm trying to create a very comprehensive online training course for like people regaining their health and what they're supposed to be, like getting in touch with their innate human capacity to regain ourselves and like, the biopsychosocial elements of health. So I'm creating this course that's centered around exercise, nutrition, healthy living, and regeneration, and also coupled with your mentality and fixing your values and trying to like just study yourself and seeing where your faults and your distortions come from and how to adjust yourself to this sick society, and you guys are going to be more jacked than me going the way you're going. But like, the point is like,
I doubt that. I've already seen your biceps. That's not true. Don't lie to me.
no, I'm weak.
I've seen your biceps, bro. Don't flex on me, bro. I've seen your biceps.
No, but like,
Dude,
but like,
earlier he gave us the flex, and I was like, damn.
Arjang is young.
What's your body fat? Like 8% or something? Holy shit, bro.
I don't know, but it's like I used to be a fighter. I used to be super competitive. I mean, I had this delusion about when I was in my like teenage years and early 20s. I wanted to be a professional fighter.
Oh, talk about the Trump supporters. Talk about fighting all the Trump supporters.
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna go into that. But like, basically, these guys were bullying some cab driver, and I just ended up being like, you guys are just messed up, and I ended up going to the hospital. They ended up going to the hospital too. But like, anyway, the point is, I want to make this online training course, which I don't know when it's going to be released, but when it's released, I'll share with all you guys. But that's what I consider to be my contribution to humanity, because I've gained a lot of knowledge over the years, like 20 years, 18 years being a fitness coach. I have a lot to offer in that realm, but it's not going to be as good on a physical one-to-one setting. But when it's an online course, when it's all done, and Zach, you're going to help me out with that because you're the genius with the cameras and all that. It's gonna be badass, because it's not gonna be like these fitness gurus are all, if you notice, all these like ultra successful personal trainers and fitness gurus are all capitalists.
Have you ever met a fucking boxing
fascist,
fitness bro
They
like
are.
Arjang?
They are.
Like Arjang, we gotta get you toe to toe with Andrew Tate. We gotta get you like,
oh
my God,
we gotta
I would
throw
love
like
to.
a bomb
Yo,
into all the fucking-
I would
the
love to fight
manosphere.
Andrew Tate. I would love to fight Andrew Tate. That would make us go viral.
Well, he's so he's so out of training now. He's not going to even be formidable if you actually gave it a little bit of a practice and actually got in there
Give
with
it
a
little
trainer and
gumption.
everything.
Well, it'll be kind of equal right now because I'm in the worship. I've been in it a long time, so I think.
Okay, I'm ready then. It's a real fight, huh?
Yeah, but anyway,
I was thinking debating in the marketplace of ideas, but yeah, I mean, fucking
debating. No. I really want to see him beat the shit out of Andrew Tate.
I can debate him while I'm punching him. I'll be like, so
I'm ready.
So you call people brokies, huh? You call people brokies. But anyway, the point is, like, I don't want to rant too much, but like, my fitness coach is not just about fitness and being some narcissistic, like sociopathic, disinterested, detached person. No, man, fitness comes to also our connection with the world around us. We have to we have to be loving, compassionate, and show vulnerability. Like,
I love this man.
Yeah, we're human beings, man. I mean, I'm a tough guy. I'm pretty strong. I think I can handle myself in a fight, but like, I don't care about that. True strength is your ability to adapt to the changing world around you. The true strength is your ability to be vulnerable with others around you and share your beliefs and be open with the world around you, And that's why Donald Trump is such a weak person.
There we go. Bring it on full circle.
Because like, I saw a documentary on his life. It was called Unfit. How he's so unfit to be president, and like how his father
unfit.
Oh yeah, very physically. But like his father wanted Fred Jr., which is his older brother, to be the heir apparent to the empire. And Fred Jr. actually was empathic and actually was somebody who cared about people, who was like, you know what? Look, Dad, I don't want to be competitive. I'm not a cutthroat person. I want to be a flight operator. I want to fly an airplane. And his dad said, you want to be a flight operator? That's like as good as being a taxi driver. That's no different from that. So he demeaned them and ridiculed them. And I think that's what led to him ultimately becoming an alcoholic. And he died from alcoholism. And then when they interviewed Trump many years later, and Trump was very happy, I think, to be taken over the empire. And when they interviewed Trump later, he was like, like, they're like, what do you feel about your brother? Like his passing and stuff. He's like, oh, it's tragic. And they're like, okay, well, what about the fact that your father said he wasn't fit to be like taking over the business and you were? Because, and Trump said, he's like, yeah, that's where my brother was wrong. He was too vulnerable with the world around him. He was too open.
Mm.
I don't like showing. He said, I don't like showing vulnerability, and I don't like to be open with the world around me. So that's where his flaw was, you know.
So Mary Trump, his cousin, is a psychiatrist or psychologist, and she wrote about him extensively too. And that was the pathology, that like this dude's dad did not allow him to express his feelings, any feeling but like anger or, you know, rage or like self-aggrandizement. And that's a very patriarchal, male, normal little fucking boy pathology. Like I was hit by my fucking family members for being too much of a pussy and smelling flowers and shit. Like, and expressing your own feelings. It's like you create this pathology of somebody who is pathologically insecure. This is the point about Trump, is that he is not secure. He is not strong. He is not a strong, confident person. He is extremely insecure. He creates this narcissistic bubble around him that is this constant self-reinforcing, like, I'm great, I'm the best, I'm smartest, I'm awesome, I'm amazing. Stable geniuses don't need to remind you that. They don't need like Kanye's like this. All these very wounded, insecure narcissists are like this. The Democratic Party is a narcissist. It cannot be held accountable for its flaws and its faults, and it has to appear a certain way, even though it's not. And so these are weak people. Like this guy is, and he's wounded. I genuinely, in this moment, I'm gonna piss people off, but I empathize with the man as a human being, not as a monster, not as something that is just like abnormal, something that was conditioned, something that was rewarded, something that was, you know, basically told by all of society, be this way, engage in this behavior. It's good. It's what's necessary. It's what's right. And that's operant conditioning. We're all conditioned into this shit world around us, and we think it's normal. And the story that we tell politically and economically,
you know, it's interesting,
and justifies that.
This reminds me, they did studies. And what they did is they got a bunch of rats. Their studies, like they're like studies around this, and they immediately are coming to mind.
Oxycontin and send them to Appalachia.
Okay, so listen. Here's what the study was. The study was they pulled different people. What they did is they got like a panel of people where only some of them were experts, and the rest of them were just people acting like they were experts. They were pretending they were experts. Okay, it was for the study. Then what they did is they got another panel of people that were supposed to judge which ones were the experts and which ones were not. Okay, that was literally the study. They were trying to see the accuracy of people's ability. Okay, that cat's so cute. That cat is adorable.
I'm sorry. I just love showing them off.
The cat is adorable. You can't expect me not to comment on the adorable cat. That's just absurd. I mean, and the little eyeballs, perfect, absolutely
perfection.
Yes. Okay, but the study was basically seeing what people's capability was to recognize when somebody was or was not an expert and whether they were faking it or not. And here's the thing. The people who pretended to be the experts were the ones that were loud and bombastic and these were the actors. The actors were the ones that pretended that they were like really smart and citing studies and like going on and on and on using technical jargon. The actual experts, here's the interesting thing about the study, were just kind of like delivering it, you know, like normal, just kind of explaining it as best they could. And when they were confronted with disconfirmation, like they didn't know if they were sure or not, they would just be like, yeah, okay. I mean, that's possible. You know, I need to study more, right? They had kind of this more inherent sort of humility because they knew humility. It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Once you're really, really informed, now you have humility because you're like, damn, I know how complex this really is. No matter how good you are, you might be wrong. So they had humility. True experts had humility. And so the people in the study, they thought all of the actors were the experts and the people that were the actual experts were not experts. Wow. That's what the study showed, is that people thought the bombastic claiming of expertise, even by somebody who's literally an actor. Do you understand? They're hired in the study to pretend to be something they're absolutely not. The person who pretended to be something they are absolutely not, by the average person, appears to be the actual expert. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that's Trump. That's what Trump actually is. Trump has no actual expertise of anything. He knows nothing about the world. He is a rank incompetent. He is at the bottom of the Dunning-Kruger chart. Okay. if I knew how to use this stupid app better, I would put the Dunning-Kruger chart up on the feature. But for any of you that are listening, go Google Dunning-Kruger effect and go look at images on whatever search engine you're looking at. You understand? Trump doesn't know anything. He is absolutely incompetent at everything. You know what he is good at? He is cruel and he is selfish and he is self-absorbed. There we go. Yeah. Marlow's got it up on his screen.
Peak of Mount Stupid.
Yeah, he's at the peak of Mount Stupid. He doesn't know how to do anything well. But the thing is that when it comes to getting into positions of power, it's so much less about your actual competence. This is why I made a video against meritocracy. It's so much less about your actual competence. It's everything about your projection of competence, as well as how well you can suck up to people within the hierarchical power structure. And Trump just started up at the top. He's essentially our era's aristocratic royalty. He inherited power. He has
no. It's not true, man. I inherited a small $10 million loan. That's all. He started from the bottom. He started from the bottom, man.
Yeah, but that's
he's a regular guy. He's just like us.
Yes, that's precisely the case. Trump is, and here's the worst part for anybody that's listening, okay? For anybody that is American, you should understand that Trump is the purest manifestation of what America is.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, dude. 100%. Because, like, Trump is a very perfect embodiment and expression of American society. This grandiose overconfidence, you know? This overconfidence of what America is. Oh, America, we're exceptionalism, you know, the greatest country on earth. God bless America. All these themes have come together to almost spit out Trump to the society at large. And like what you said, Zach, like his cruelty, his narcissism, like he was diagnosed by a whole team of medical experts and like psychologists. They're like, there's 4 things that this guy has wrong. Like he's a narcissist. He's an antisocial personality disorder. He's a sadist, which means he takes pleasure in inflicting pain on other people. And also he's a compulsive liar. So these things, sadly, I mean, yeah, I despise the guy. I don't like him. But obviously, in the end, we have to use a systems thinking lens to see that, look, man, if we're going to blame Trump, if we're going to hate Trump, we have to hate the whole collective American society. Because look, is Trump to blame? If we're going to blame Trump, we're going to also blame his father. We're going to blame the people, the peers who was in his life. We got to blame the rugged streets of Manhattan. Like we got to blame a lot of different environmental factors that formed him into who he is. So ultimately, it is true strength to have compassionate understanding, to not really condemn or forgive, but to understand what is really happening here. And that is the only way we can actually arrive at a sane conclusion of what we can do about this mess that we're in.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Luther King has a beautiful book, a little book of sermons I recommend everybody read. I got it right when Trump was first in power. A great activist mentor gave it to me as a gift. And there's a sermon in there called, the whole thing's called Strength to Love. And there's a sermon in there called Loving Your Enemies. And sure, it was very unpopular in its time, but it's not about like saying, oh, Trump is good or what is good or bad. Buckminster Fuller, I was reading in this fucking book, beautiful book last night, that there's no such thing as good and bad. There's no such thing as positive and negative in terms of like the polarities of the universe. Like they all sort of basically merge back into each other at some point. I'm sure astrophysicist Daniel over here can explain that better than I can. But basically, it's beyond like this basic moral justification of like, oh, the system is what it is because bad people are in charge of the gears of the monster machine, the death machine. Oh, and we need to just get good people in there. It's way beyond that. Strength to Love. It's a beautiful thing. Oh yeah. So he
I love
talks
that
about.
both of you have that, by the way.
I gave it to him as a gift.
Well, actually, Zach gave it to me. Zach gave it to me as a gift because I lost my cat a few months ago. It was absolutely devastating, and then he gave me this gift. And I'm sorry, Zach, I haven't read it yet. I was just too
Crack
depressed
it open.
back then.
It's very short. They're just sermons.
Yeah, it is a short book. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he talks about how it is fucking of strategic necessity. If someone wants to destroy you, you need to understand them. You need to understand what makes them tick, and there is no other way that you're going to make sense of them. Whether you're dealing them in any way, you have to understand your enemy. You have to understand how they think. And if you want to change their mind and you want to see them as other than a monster, other than as something that is irreconcilably evil, which is useless. It is a useless argument, and it is basically a big F on the human being, that like we're just a failed species. And I don't believe that. I've seen better. I've seen better of the human race to know that that's not what a human being is or acts like. That's actually as far from a human being or beyond a human being, humanity. This this process, this relationship, this thing that makes you bigger than one person. Because as Bruce Springsteen said, poor man want to be rich, rich man want to be king, and the king ain't satisfied till he owns everything. That it's just like there's no satisfying that egotistical, metaphysical longing and loss and unfulfilledness that it is to be that guy, to be never okay, to say, no matter how rich and powerful I am, it is not enough. And that is the slavery that people are stuck in. Even the masters of the game, even the people who make money and print it and create it and have an infinite amount that they could never spend in a million lifetimes.
The point you say, man, is really true about like trying to understand why they want to destroy you. Because like I just thought about you saying that made me think about this experience I had like way back in the day when I first became radicalized by systems thinking, like Jacques Fresco's work, which is all about.
But when you became humanized, when you became empathized, we are not radical. Their shit is radical. It's radical to let 18 million people die of fucking poverty every year.
Absolutely.
We are not radical.
We're just normal. We're normal. We're what needs to be. We are what we're all humanity needs to be. Just, just normal people, which is, when you look at the world around you outside, people who justify the daily slaughter of other human beings and the mass extinctions going on the planet, they justify it with all these silly assumptions. They are abnormal. We are just normal people, or trying to be normal. But like, I remember years ago, I was driving. I cut off some guy in the driveway and in the highway, and then he just like swerved right in front of me, like literally pulled his window down and threw a shoe at me at my head, and then like he cuts me off, it gets in front of me, and then he gets out of his car, starts yelling at me and shit, and he's like, "You're an asshole for cutting me off," and I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean by I'm an asshole? You want to explain that?" And he's like, "What the fuck do you mean?" Like, I just started being really nice to him, and then he was just like, he didn't know how to fight with me anymore. He was just like, "What the fuck are you trying to do to me?" I was like, "Here, man, like, let me give you a hug. I'm sure you had a bad day and shit." I was a little bit on the higher hippie Buddhist kind of energy back then. But anyway, the point is, like you said, man, it's very important for us to try to understand why they want to kill us, why they want to harm us. Because, like you said, in understanding is when we actually can maintain our sanity,
So I do need to end the stream here in only about 20 minutes, which is unfortunate. I would love for this to be like a 6-hour stream. This would be perfect. We're all in the groove. But unfortunately, I do need to end the stream here in about 20 minutes. But this question, honestly, this person gives us the perfect note to kind of end this off on. They asked, yes, Trump is the clown mascot of the United Corporations of America at this point in time. Will this cause more Americans to wake up permanently? I'll just say for myself, I'll start by answering, is that it's not. I wish I could tell you, I wish I could say to you, having witnessed these horrible cycles take place one after another, that, oh yeah, this will be it, everybody's going to wake up. But I just want to be very clear to you that everyone just voted. I mean, not everyone, but many people just voted to put the man in presidency. Clearly, they're not having any regrets. Okay, to begin with, that's just one thing I want to say. But they're going to witness him fucking up. They're going to witness him being a tyrant. You just watch. Okay, this is how this always goes. It happens when the Democrats get in. It's going to happen when the Republicans get in. They get big backlashes. But what I want to convey to you personally is that is a contingent fact. That is absolutely contingent upon the energetic nature of the action that people take to radicalize others. People who have the knowledge, people who are involved in the process, people who have access to communication with others, the degree to which they use the conditions of any specific historical event in order to carry out the spreading of knowledge, radicalization, education of others, use of particular things that take place in order to bring people to those realizations. I just want to say, that's what I really want to emphasize. It's contingent. I don't think that there's any inevitability to that fact. It is completely reliant upon the conscious activity of the human beings that occupy our societies.
Absolutely. Can I add on to that?
Please go ahead.
So like, yeah, that question, a lot of people have messaged me on social media and stuff saying, hey man, things are not going to get better until we have some collapse. Then people can wake up with their heads on fire and then things will get better. And I say no, because look, man, look at the current situation right now. like Trump, like a perfect statement that Trump made many years ago was, I think it was 2015, before he ran for president. It was like he said something along the lines of like, I can get out in the street on Fifth Avenue with a gun and shoot somebody, and people would still vote for me. Because as things get worse, if people are actually not informed as to what is causing their suffering, they'll let these demigods use scapegoatism and other kinds of nonsense propaganda to further the confusion and division and get us further away from actual solutions. So no, if things get worse and there's not solutions being presented, and there's not people being educators being there in the spotlight to show them, hey, look guys, look what's happening. Look at the root source of why this happened. Things will just continue to spiral out of control and get worse. And then, we're going to get to a situation where as the walls close in on us with the environmental crises and the social crises, we're just going to get, it's going to be even further and further. Like, we're going to even get more regressive, the nature of things. And it's going to be even harder to get us back to where we want to be. And so I think, you never want to, you guys are not going to give up. I'm never going to give up. We're going to keep advocating for solutions. We're going to keep working on these things. But like, sadly, I would have to say with Trump's new presidency, we took a couple steps back, when it comes to the social consciousness of America, even I dare say the global consciousness, because, Trump's presidency is going to embolden all these other dictators and all these fascists around the world to level up their game. And so we got to work harder, man. It's just sad. It's just the externalities are creating more of these divisive elements. And so it really is contingent upon how hard people like us work on providing out-system solutions to what is happening. So it is a combination of things. Yeah.
I want to say that we should absolutely not put one morsel of hope back into the Democrats or anyone in the current establishment to solve this problem, for the adults to wake up. I was really surprised that more people fell for Kamala Harris. I really was. I was very shocked. More people actually showed up and were like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Like, I'm genuinely shocked and embarrassed that everybody didn't learn their lesson the last 4 or 5 fucking ridiculous elections. And so, yeah, we have to make people change. Well, not make them. You can't make them. That's actually a good point. That's the point of this whole anarchist jargon. You can't create a free society by force. You need to create real dialogue and real relationships with people. And we're going to see the normalization of this behavior just continue. Trump has gotten more deranged, but a lot of people have just gotten used to it and actually believe it. I have good friends who are now like so fucking brainwashed by the terrible, absolutely abysmal failure of the neoliberal establishment to provide any kind of alternative, and being stuck in this left and right thing, this fucking tensegrity, this fucking tension, they've got us by the balls. I'm sorry. I don't mean to assume everybody's whatever, but they've got us. They've fucking got us in this thing where, if you're not right, you're left. And it's just perfect. It's a perfect fucking trap because, the Democrats fucking blow donkey dick, literally. But, you just get them focused on one side and not the other. And you'll get them to accept and actually carry out all these absurdities. And they'll create an echo chamber that normalizes it and normalizes it and normalizes it. Like Trump has been normalized. I knew the motherfucker had won. He had it, the goose cooked. When I went to a party full of I went from giving out sandwiches on fucking Skid Row, literally hanging out with people playing saxophone and going nuts on the street, to a $10 million mansion full of Ayn Rand business fucking proprietarian, libertarian billionaires. And I was talking to a lot of the people building the AI system that will become the Trump, really the backside, the back end of what Trump really is. Shit. That they're building a fucking nuclear powered AI god. That's what they're doing. They want AI accelerationism. They want no restrictions on that. They want Elon Musk to rule the world. And that's who's in charge right now. And that's Trump's biggest donor. And Trump has said, I owe Elon a lot. It's really the tech elite that are puppeting Trump. And I think we need to stop playing the game. This is the mistake that the Democrats made in every debate, is they treated them like real people. They treated them normally. They didn't treat them as that's a fucking crazy delusion. That's obviously insane. And we're all better than that. And you can get most people into that, even if they're Trump people. He's a politician. He's a fucking pig. He doesn't represent you. He doesn't care about you. You just want to see him piss off your enemies. But he's your enemy too. You can get them to think this way. And we have to. We have to form connections and reform the relationships in our local communities, to build local economies.
Let me add something real quick on that.
Networks of support where we're actually dependent on each other.
Yeah, let me ask something on that. Like, how much of that can also be attributed to like people like Obama? Because like when you look at Obama's presidency, people often say, "Oh, can we just return to like people like Obama? He was such a smooth talking, polite, well-educated, and eloquent leader." Whereas like, no, man, it's situations like Obama that gave us the situation with Trump. Because what do you guys think was happening? The smooth talking, polite, well-spoken, African American president standing in front of, which is just like, he's just like a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's saying all this nice, beautiful, nice stuff to people. Well, he placated and anesthetized the population while all the mass rape and theft and murder was happening behind the scenes. People don't know. The average Obama bot doesn't know this guy was like double the drone killings of Bush. He doubled the deportations of the Republican before him. He did so much criminal. I mean, the bailout that he gave to Wall Street was so hideously, like, I remember a number which was like George Bush, the amount of money that he gave to Wall Street was greater than all the bailouts combined by all the presidents before him. Well, Obama bailed out Wall Street to the tune that was higher than all the previous presidents combined with Bush. And then we're supposed to think this guy was some great guy. That's why to me, it offends me more than anything. Before Trump came into power, Obama offended me more than anything because this guy was disgusting. And look at how he's living his life right now. He's set for life, got a massive mansion, taken care of, travels around the world with his wife, has a beautiful time. Yeah, while he destroyed the society, the inequality that he caused. It was just the guy was a terrorist,
I mean, he also rubber stamped like the majority of all PRISM warrantless wiretapping subpoenas. Like the way that it worked. I mean, not to get too far off here because we have to wrap up here in a minute, but Obama was the only thing between warrantless wiretapping happening or not. So essentially when they came to Obama, they were requesting to just bypass the Constitution and to just be able to wiretap people as they please through the PRISM program. And it was basically just all reliant on whether Obama said yes or no. And from what we understand, Obama literally didn't even basically didn't even read them. Like basically just said yes, and just spammed yes with all the wiretapping requests with very few exceptions. And so he knew that there was a warrantless wiretapping program. He knew how sophisticated it was, and he directly, by conscious action, enabled it. So I mean, damn, that was like very radicalizing for me. He was also the president when the NDAA, the 2012 NDAA passed. The 2012 NDAA, I don't know how much people know about it. That was one of the most draconian things that has ever been passed in United States history.
It's Patriot Act on steroids, basically. It's Patriot Act on steroids.
It is. Yeah, Patriot Act is nothing by comparison. What it said was if somebody could be labeled a terrorist in the United States, they lost all of their constitutional rights.
Yep. No legal rights, no right to an attorney, nothing.
None. Take you away. They could be kidnapped and kept in a black prison, and that would be legal if it went to a courtroom. So just like, yeah, the National Defense Authorization Act, as somebody pointed out. Sorry, I shouldn't just assume people know what the NDAA stands for. But yeah, no, the thing is that this empire has been expanding its authoritarianism, its tyrannous nature for a very long time now. And Trump is really like a pure expression of what it is at this point. It is disappointing. People should be rightfully scared of what is possibly going to happen in the following years. I do think that it's going to be pretty bad. And Trump is going to oversee an extremely tyrannical, even maybe like an empire or dictator-like presidency, especially given that he has control over the Supreme Court. I think that is going to have an enormous effect. But I do want to say, this is kind of what I've been saying to people on Twitter. Maybe this is a good place for us to kind of wrap it up.
Can I make another point about that, actually, about Obama? And one of Obama's greatest evils is that he had the entire House and Senate, and he could have done whatever the fuck he wanted to do, and he did not. And that right there is the failure. Like how Thomas Pogge said that the greatest failure in the world is that we have such technology and we have come so far as a species, and yet we still do not eliminate poverty. It's like not only like maybe the percentage of people living under a certain stupid line is like lower statistically in a tiny way, but the fact that we are this far and we still have so many people in poverty is the greatest indictment of the failure of our system possible. And yeah, it's just like Obama and the liberal establishment over the last 100 years, you know, the capitalist, the smiling passive aggressive side of the capitalist party that's always sold out workers, that exists to fucking give them a reach around while robbing them blind, failed us and created Trump. We can never forget that they created him through their neglect, through their neoliberal policies, you know, deregulating all the industries in our society, shipping jobs overseas, taking away all barriers to unchecked financialization. This is really the fucking tip, is that everything is fucking financialized. The center of value in our society is not markets. It's not products. It's not even profit anymore. It's just rent. It's just financial rent.
Speculation and rent.
And Trump is a speculator. He's a fucking resource. He's a real estate speculator. And so we have come full circle, as Yanis Varoufakis talks about, to techno-feudalism. We are actually out of capitalism. Thank you, Donald Trump. In a way, you killed capitalism. Well, not Donald Trump, Obama, all these people. They killed capitalism, basically, by taking us out of a system where profits dominate in markets. And now we're in a stage of techno-feudalism where massive cybernetic corporate entities that are now powered by AI are fucking in control of everything. And it's not left versus right. It's not Democrat. It's not a human versus human thing anymore. It's humans acting on behalf of a bloodless monster system that wants to turn your grandmother into a fucking percentage point of fractionalized debt, that wants to destroy the atmosphere and turn it into a cloud so that it can send a fucking data center into space to build its fucking data. What the fuck are we talking about? We've got to be able to deal with this in a more real way and just talk about what's happening and say, fuck all this jargon. Fuck all this theory. Just talk about what's happening. That's what Noam Chomsky told me before he stopped talking.
Yeah, I think that is essentially where we're at. People have to take extremely seriously. It's like, I, as a creator, I sort of have two aspects to what this channel is about. This channel is about sober analysis of extremely dark facts about the world, to the degree where, honestly, if all you did was consume that portion, you'd probably spiral into a deep depression. But it is equally about the constructive and hopeful aspect. Yeah. It is about what can be done. And I want to emphasize to people that my genuine feeling, this is my actual feeling about the truth, is that this is contingent. This can be changed. The people can act. The alternatives can be built. History has been changed by people doing things which are otherwise from what is. That is how all alteration of history has taken place. The construction of alternative structures, the building of different systems which are contrary to the function of society in which they arise. And it is the development of these systems which transforms everything. And that includes our modern moment. It includes this moment right now. Yeah. I just want to note, if you feel distressed about what is taking place with the election, if you feel afraid, I'm not trying to tell you you shouldn't be. Remember, that's the first half. You should be. This shit is scary. But the second half is that something can be done about it. And if you're listening to this right now, that includes you. I don't care who you are. That includes you. Things can be done. Alternatives can be constructed. There are different systems which we could indeed make. And you, absolutely, you listening, have a part in that. You should ask yourself how you can be active in that process. Let me tell you how many organizations all over the nation right now, if they were to hear that they had 1 or 2 new people who wanted to become members in their DMs, how excited they would be. Groups of 3 or 4 people that would be so happy to hear that they'd gotten a DM from somebody in some random ass city, wherever, wanting to become a part of the group. There's so many groups that are starved of capacity, that need people who are earnestly committed to revolutionary activity of constructing alternatives.
Absolutely.
I just want
can I make a point there?
To take that seriously.
Can I make a point there, Daniel? I wanna correct something you said earlier. You said we're not utopians. Fuck that. I am a utopian. I am a proud utopian. What did you say about utopia? You introduced me at that party and you said I'm a utopian. Can you say what that means?
Well, I said that being a utopian is just believing that the world could be a better place. It's not just being crazy or cynical or pessimistic, right?
Yeah, I think
That's like it's considered being intelligent to be cynical or pessimistic or dystopian. Like I used to be much more respected by my family when I was depressed and down about the future of the world and the environment. And the second I started to get into anarchism and the solutions, all of a sudden I was seen as crazy. Now that's like, oh, like baby girl got into something weird. Like
Baby girl got to do something very weird.
no, I mean that's
This
like
is
the
this
same.
is this is the love of my life. This is my fiance Ariana,
I
the
was
princess, Principessa.
I was in the chat talking about veganism, girls. Hi.
Oh yeah. I saw you in the chat. Arjang, go.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's actually kind of similar to my life story because back before I found all this stuff and became an activist, I was set to like try to be like a wealthy businessman and all that, and my family respected me for
Trump
doing
himself.
that. Yeah, I mean, well, I could never be like that. I'm not as successful as him, but I was like, my family respected me, and as soon as I started talking about, hey guys, we should be working on like using our privilege and the time we have to bring about a better world, I lost all respect for my family. They're like, this guy's lost it. He's fallen into a cult. We got to try to save him. If we can't save him, just get rid of him. So that's really what happened. And I would say, as the legendary Jacques Fresco told me, and many times he said all over the internet. He said, like, if you want to bring about a better world, you got to work towards it and just talk to other people. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. It's that simple. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. And we have to be not optimistic, not pessimistic, but be realistic. About how dire things are, but also realistic about the fact that, hey, man, things are changing around the world. If you pay attention, things are changing. People are forming communities. Look at the Palestine movement, the Free Palestine movement. It's actually the last nail in the coffin, I hope so, of decolonization. Decolonization across the globe. The global South is infuriated and sick and tired of American imperialism. They want to see Palestine become liberated and also their societies be liberated from neoliberalism and all the exploitation that's been happening for centuries. So things are happening. You just got to look for them. Tune out the stupid mainstream media and start reading, start researching, and looking at alternatives. Things are happening.
Talk to people. I want to say that things can be so much better. Things could be fucking wonderful. There is no good reason you could explain to an intelligent species looking down on Earth why we are in this situation when we have the problem-solving technology, the science, the human ability, the incredible ingenuity as a species. We have billions of humans on this Earth, which in this current parasitic structure, we only see them as a virus, and we need to reduce them. No, human beings are each capable of creating an entire universe in their fucking brain and then building it. And if there are laws of physics as we see them that stand in our way, we're quite capable of figuring out how to get around that and fly through the air and create fucking cool out of fire and to warm ourselves through winter and to create a beautiful abundance of everything fucking necessary and just get it to people. We're highly capable. We're capable of anything. And that must be the way that we approach people. Daniel posted a beautiful tweet today, a wonderful twat today about that revolutions are not heinous acts of bitterness and like they're not this bitter like fuck you dad, I'm gonna murder you, I'm gonna fucking gulag you. Like fuck that shit. Fuck that pessimistic reactionary bullshit. Stop being reactionary. Stop just reacting to a reaction.
Stop
to a reaction
being
to a
weak.
reaction.
Stop being weak.
We need to form a vision of the world based on what is possible. Based on, hey, how about what is best for everyone? Not just be like, oh, let's make it less worse. Less worse is killing us. Less worse just got us Trump. Less worse on steroids just got us probably not just 4 years of Trump, but very possibly an endless procession of people in this sort of regime that if the Democratic Party ever wins an election again, it will probably be because they're just aping this party because this party fucks over the people and crashes Bitcoin or some stupid shit. And like, it plunges into a climate annihilation and tanks the fucking food system or We're not
It's
going
just-
to
it's
just learn. We need to build that better. We need to be the opportunity. We need to be the hope. We need to be the change. We need to walk into this world like my dear sweet grandmother told me at the darkest moment of my life, and be the fucking change. Be the example to people. We have to be better than this. We have to rise above the hate and the bitterness and the division and the childishness and hold ourselves and every person around us to a higher standard, because who we are is not me, is not you, it's not your choices, it's not Trump's choices. It's all of us together. So Trump is us. All his supporters are us. The libs are us. We are all in this together.
And we have to use the suffering and the destruction being caused around the world as a fulcrum of motivation to give us energy. Because think of all like what Jacques said. Think of all the Einsteins that never came to be because people had to work for a living. Instead of living a life, just living a life. We can't live a life. We have to work for a living. How fucking pathetic,
Yeah, you need to be hunted by these people, I feel. And like just what Zach said about making the world a better place and space and blah blah blah. Like beyond like the wildest dreams, just making your life less exploited, like feeling less exploited yourself, sharing with other people. I went to the liminal village with Zach when I met him, and I went from having to pay like 1,200 something like that dollars a month to live in Montreal where I have a rent, food, all of that, no sharing, just like doing my own thing, to being in the modern commune where we just share our bills and where there's no rent seeking. And I went from being like 1,200 to $200 a month. Like just that. I was a communist back then. I was doing all the theory, all the thinking. And in 1 week, like that shit changed me more than all the theory in the world. Like it felt so liberating and like breathing for the first time. So yeah, the revolution is scary, but it's also gonna feel good. Like it needs to feel better. It needs to be less crushing too.
Yeah.
You changed me in 1 week.
Love that. Love that. I'm going to end this because I am now over time. I'm going to end this, but because you mentioned the tweet, I'll just read the tweet. I said,
Read the tweet, Daniel.
I said, I continue to believe that liberation is predicated on something fundamentally wholesome. It cannot come about by hideous hatred. It must be the product of love for other humans, for the ecology, a belief in their potential, a dogged fight to protect what is good and beautiful. Hatred burns bright and fast. It is rash. It is explosive. In time, ashes are all that is left. Love endures through storms, through the fires of passion, through cataclysms that would break the world. The commitment to protect what is good is a light that guides through darkness.
Beautiful. And I think that is a perfect statement to end this beautiful podcast, man. It's great.
Agreed. I think that's a good place for us to stop. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you all being on here. One more time, you need to say what channels they can find you on.
Go ahead, Zach.
I'm at Zachary C. Marlow on all the apps. I'm about to start Another World is Possible for my film works. Right now, you can find my rants and short films and videos on the Moneyless Society platform. And let's see, anotherworld.earth. That's a film. That's a website for my film series. Hello. And my link tree. It's Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi, Zachary C. Marlow. That's if you want to support us monetarily, because we're not so good with the money. We don't have a lot of money like a Donald Trump.
But yeah, and I am Arjang Joma, and I have a YouTube channel called World Beyond Capitalism. I'm an organizer for a global sustainability advocacy organization called the Zeitgeist Movement. And hey, if you guys want to do me a favor, I have a business called Dynamic Fitness, which is not doing so well right now because of my criticism of Israel. If you want to head over to, just a small favor, if you want to head over to head over to Google, type Dynamic Fitness Brooklyn, and just write a nice review for me. It'll help me out a little bit in the algorithm.
Dynamic Fitness. We're gonna link it,
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Brooklyn. Okay, you're
Arjang is no shit. Also, if you guys need training, like Arjang is no shit the best trainer, physical trainer, and like health bro I've ever met in my entire life. Like,
thank you, man.
The dude will stop you 10 times in one push-up to be like, no, tuck in your butt, pull this in. Oh, that's beautiful movement. That's beautiful.
There movement. It is. There it is. We gave the link. That's the Yelp right there. Okay, we got the Yelp.
No, in the chat. The Yelp sucks. Don't do the Yelp. The Yelp is garbage.
Do the Yelp. Okay.
Google. Just Google. Just pure Google. Dynamic Fitness Brooklyn.
Just the website.
Yeah, dynamic-fitness.com.
There we go. There it is. It's in the chat, everyone.
And yeah, guys, like I hope thank you so much for like collaborating, guys, and hopefully we have more of these to come, because I think we can talk about many different topics regarding post scarcity thinking. And so we should definitely do more of these collaborations, because this is truly energizing for me. It was amazing,
I'm glad to hear it. It seems like a lot of people in chat enjoyed it as well. That is it for tonight. It was enjoyable. I'll see y'all next time.
All right, guys. Peace out. Much love. Bye.